He's back. Kyle Busch is the only driver to ever win here more than once in a truck, but he wasn't in victory lane here last year. That was Todd Bodine. Ron Hornaday, another Dover winner, is still looking for his first victory this season. But to start, they will all be chasing a 19-year-old. Darrell Wallace Jr. emotionally wins his first career Truck Series pole. The track affectionately called the Monster Mile is the first of two concrete tracks NASCAR Camping World Truck Series teams will visit in 2013. But one thing that is already concrete this season are surprise winners and dramatic finishes.
White flag in the air.
Oh, crash.
Crash behind him. Johnny Sauter's going to win at Daytona.
Yeah, guys, good job. I'm proud of you guys. We were on this one.
And the celebration begins. Johnny Sauter has been able to dominate once again at Martinsville.
Back-to-back victory lane for the 98 team.
Now to turn number 4, Kyle Larson's going to win at Rockingham. Kyle gets his first career win in just his 5th Camping World Truck Series start. Looking at win.
There you go, buddy. Go get that checkered flag.
The celebration begins for Matt Crafton. This is going to be his 5th win at Charlotte. Kyle Busch wins again.
That feels good, buddy. That feels really good. Thank you, guys.
Kyle Busch sits second all-time in wins in the Camping World Truck Series. Here comes Rowdy!
Through 5 races, here are the drivers who have jumped to the head of the class. Brendan Gaughan riding the momentum of 3 straight top 5s. Ty Dillon's points position matches his truck number. Rookie Jeb Burton may be the surprise of the season, but he is chasing Matt Crafton, who, with the win in Kansas, continues to lead the charge. Okay, meanwhile, guys who need to step on the gas. Joey Coulter coming off his worst finish of the year. Ron Hornaday started off the year on fire, but has smoldered since. We told you Bodine won this race last year. He's still looking for his first top 10 in 2013. And last year, Timothy Peters finished 2nd in points. He is way back in 16th right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the setup. It is a monster of a challenge facing these drivers today. It is also brutally hot here in Dover, Delaware. And the drivers we thought would be heating things up on the track, like Peters and James Busher, well, they have not been. They have been struggling. Here are some of the storylines to follow today. Speaking of James Busher, the defending champ will be making his 100th career start today. He has logged top 10 finishes in his last 3 starts at the Monster Mile, and boy, does he need a kickstart. Points leader Matt Crafton will be making his 300th consecutive start today and becomes the 6th driver to join the 300 club. And Brendan Gaughan may have been mad as hell that he didn't earn his first trip to victory lane in 10 years 2 weeks ago, but the veteran is off to his best start since 2003 with top 5 finishes in his last 3 races. Well, it's already been an eventful day for our defending champ and an eventful season. It's time to fire the engines. We begin with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Krista. You know, this series began back in 1995, and no driver has won championships in back-to-back seasons. A lot of people thought James Busher might be able to change that, but it's been a bit of a bumpy road. The 31 team has yet to post a top 5 finish. And when we look back on this season, there's been multiple things that have not kept this team from having a good day. At Rockingham, he spun out. Then he crashed with his teammate at Kansas. And this was at Charlotte just a week ago. Check this out. Frustration led to him taking out Johnny Sauter. And today, Miles the Monster reached out and grabbed James Busher, crashing his primary truck. That means this rude truck that's on the grid is a backup truck. Now, even though James Busher qualified 20th today, with this backup truck, he'll have to go to the tail of the field. So it's one more thing that this team has to try to overcome if they're going to get back in this championship chase. But at the front of the field, we've got some great young drivers. And for more on that, here's Hermie Sadler.
Well, you're exactly right, Ray. If fans at home want to know where the future stars of NASCAR, where are they? Look at the top of the leaderboard in qualifying today for the Camping World Truck Series race right here at Dover. Unbelievable what these young kids are doing. Bubba Wallace on the pole. He's 19 years old. Chase Elliott second, 17 years old. Jeb Burton third, a whopping 20 years old. And Ryan Blaney qualified 4th, 19 years old. And what makes it that much better, they're all going to be chased at the drop of the green flag by the old man, the veteran, Kyle Busch, at the age of 28. The young guns are alive and well in the Camping World Truck Series. The beginning of this race should be mighty, mighty exciting to watch. For more on our pole sitter, Bubba Wallace, let's go back to Krista Voda.
Thanks, Herbie. Are we seeing a changing of the guard? Coming up on the setup, Darrell Wallace Jr. knows you can't just click your heels and land in victory lane here in the Truck Series. His family tells us how important winning really is for Bubba.
I think there's a lot of pressure on him to be successful. You know, there's a lot of people looking, you know, for him to be successful, but I think he takes it all in stride.
And we will head upstairs to ask the analysts what to expect when drivers try to tame the monster.
Did you watch the finale last night? It was phenomenal.
Last night was amazing. But you know what?
Last night's episode.
No.
On Demand from Optimum gives you access to your favorite shows from all the major networks. So if you miss something, we've got you covered. Visit Channel 500 for the latest primetime shows, movies on demand, and more. You just have to make it to your TV.
What are you doing?
It not fit. Now it fit.
Moving is hard. Moving our Optimum service is easy. Keep your email and phone number. Pick the day and time that works for you. Get free installation in our special movers offer. Go to Optimum.com/movers offer.
America's largest retailer of RVs, parts, accessories, and service. Visit campingworld.com today. And by Steel. Visit steeldealers.com. Todd Bodine spent yesterday visiting the nearby Dover Air Force Base. He chatted with airmen and women at the Raven section of the Security Forces Squadron, toured a C-5M, and met with the fire department of the Civil Engineer Squadron, where he got a look at aircrew flight equipment.
The Monster Mile.
I think the way to describe this track is expect the unexpected.
Underway from Dover.
These trucks are running 170 miles an hour when they dive down in the corner. If something goes wrong, it happens in a hurry.
The 11.
You don't see 5 just spin out very often.
Green flag back in the air. 3 wide coming out of turn number 4.
They know the rain's coming, don't they, Billy? There goes Todd Bodine for the lead. Remember, it wasn't that long ago when he was cutting a tire down and spinning out off turn 4.
Todd Bodine has won the race here in Dover, Delaware.
We told you who's been good this year, but who has been good at this track. Todd Bodine finished top 5 in 2 of the last 3 races at Dover, including that win last year. James Buescher, top 10 in the last 3 here at this track. Kyle Busch, the only repeat winner at Dover. He won in his first Dover start in 2005 and in his last in 2011. And Matt Crafton, 7 top 10 finishes at the Monster Mile. Well, on Wednesday, the inventory for Darrell Wallace's number 54 Toyota was filled as Camping World and Good Sam come on board for an 11-race package. It begins here today, and boy, have they gotten some great mileage out of it. Darrell Wallace Jr. putting their names on the pole. But it's not the names on the truck, but the name of the driver that has everyone guessing.
The name Bubba came from his sister, Brittany. So we picked up on it, and so everybody calls him Bubba. He's really kind of laid back, cool kid.
Funny, always joking, you know, kind of like me, and just don't let nothing bother you, just go with the flow.
It takes a lot to get me excited. Racing, you can't get worked up. You got a long race, you know, you get worked up on when you cross the line first.
I've always been around racing when I grew up, and so I had a passion for it. I asked him if it's something you want to try, and he's like, yeah, sure. So next weekend, we was racing.
Once he got into the go-karts and then the bandoleros, he started winning. And once he started winning, he was hooked.
Racing means to me, it's everything. It's been up and down, for sure. In 2009, we just come off a very successful season. The next year, it was like I've never raced before. It was a race at Dillon. We're 2 laps down, 30 laps into it. Like, this was unreal, so I got pulled in and said, I'm done, sell everything. Luckily, my mom was right there, and she was like, whatever, you're not done.
How do you deal with the diversity angle?
I've been the same color since I started out, and I've only gotten taller. And so I've been racing for 9 years, so I'm pretty good with it now.
One of the biggest challenges as parents is some of the negative comments made by some of the fans. I used to become defensive with it because, you know, that is my child. But I have to realize, too, that not everyone is going to like him, no matter how well he does. There's some people that are just not going to accept the fact that he's out there doing what he's doing.
I grew up going through school 80% black, and so I'd go to parties and I'd be the only white guy there. And so, you know, it don't bother me, and I just taught him, you know, don't let it bother you.
There are some people that don't think I should be there, but I'm trying to prove them wrong. You know, I'll make mistakes, nobody's perfect. But that's the hard thing about it is when I do make a mistake, it's well known. I think that's a little bit more pressure there. I put on myself to try to make everything the right move and not mess up.
You have the young kids looking up to, you know, try to identify with somebody, to, you know, have a role model. He has to act a certain way because he knows that he has these kids looking up to him.
I think he just puts the pressure on himself. In the ARCA race earlier this year at Daytona, he ended up, you know, getting caught up in the big one. That was the first time I seen it, you know, him really upset because he wrecked, and he just felt he let everybody down. Never thought he felt that way, that there was a big burden on his shoulder, and, you know, me and Coach Gibbs are standing there like, hey, don't worry about it. That's just part of it.
Awesome. You put on a show out there. With him being, you know, an African American in this sport, great things are ahead of him. Just like Tiger Woods when he entered into the world of golf. I think that's the kind of impact that he could have in the NASCAR world.
There's a lot of people that would love to see him succeed and win, just to add a different color, not only on the racetrack, but in the stands.
I'm going out there trying to win races and hopefully bring in a new face. That I'm the same as everybody else. Put the helmet on, put my shield down. You don't know who's in there. I'm no different from everybody else.
Great story. 5 career Truck Series starts. He has raced here and won in the 2010 K&N Pro Series East race. But the big story today, it's Darrell Wallace Jr. at 19 years old who puts his truck on the pole. Ray is standing by with Bubba.
And Krista, not only the youngest pole winner in Camping World Truck Series history, but we will have the youngest front row ever in NASCAR's top 3 divisions. That's a pretty cool thing. But you've been really good at Dover. Why is that?
I'm still asking myself the same question. We come out here this weekend with Good Sam and Camping World on the new Tundra, and we're fast. So I'm excited, and expectations are set pretty high for this race. I mean, I love coming here. It's just, it is my favorite track, so just something about it that we get along together pretty great.
Such a great group of young guys up there, but you also have the boss in the field, Kyle Busch. You know you got to beat him today. Is it possible?
I believe so. You know, we all three of our KBM trucks, we tested pretty well yesterday, and so come back with a game plan, had a meeting after practice, come back with a game plan for today, and I think we'll all 3 be all right. Coulter had a bad qualifying run there, but, you know, you can never count us 3 out. So it'll be fun racing with Kyle when he gets up there and see if I can hold him off.
Congratulations. Great day. Bubba Wallace on the pole. And check this out. New sponsorship for him this weekend, too, with Camping World and Good Sam's. Now let's hear from that other fast guy on the front row. He's with Hermie.
Well, Chase Elliott qualified 8th at Martinsville, 4th at Rockingham, 2nd today. The question is, can you turn that into a victory?
That's what we're shooting for, man. I really think we can. I feel like we have a really fast Arians Dream machine, and I feel like we made some good adjustments yesterday in practice to hopefully be there when it counts today. I think the main thing is going to be try to stay out of trouble and put ourselves in the right position to be there at the end.
Your dad's been here with you all day, a lot of experience. What has he told you about this racetrack and maybe a key to victory?
Just race the racetrack, man. It's a tough place when you're running by yourself, much less being around people. So we're just going to take it a lap at a time, try to get to the end, and then go after it.
As Chase Elliott looking to turn this good qualifying run into a trip to victory lane. Krista?
Such a great story, that front row. But, you know, it's not just the front row that is young. In fact, our second row made up of 20-year-old Jeb Burton. He's the old guy of the group because Ryan Blaney is just 19. So it's both the front and second row here that is extremely young. Coming up, we will hear from the most mature trio in our group. Maturity, of course, based on age only. We'll ask the analysts their thoughts next. These guys getting ready to take 200 laps around one of NASCAR's toughest tracks, the trucks preparing to tackle the Monster Mile. Well, we have certainly seen some new names lift the Monster Trophy at this track. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip. You have to wonder, will we see another today?
And that's definitely a great question. And probably one of the biggest questions that we've got to figure out is Johnny Sauter and a new crew chief. They didn't fare so well our last race. Are they going to get better here in Dover?
Well, I talked to Johnny down in the garage area after qualifying. I said, is it going to affect you guys not having Joe Shear here? He said, absolutely, without a doubt. I said, even with the technology we have today and texting and FaceTime and all that stuff, he said, yeah, but he's not here touching the truck, watching the truck on the racetrack. He said, without a doubt, it's going to affect us. Now, will we be able to overcome it? Hopefully so. Jesse Saunders is doing a great job. They have some good people there. But remember, this is not a Joe Gibbs racing team that lost their crew chief, that, you know, that have so much depth that they can replace him with somebody very, very talented, or the Penske organization. This is Thor Sport Racing, a great team, but again, they're not quite as deep as some of the Cup teams are. So he said, without a doubt, it's going to affect us. Now, we're going to show what we're made of here, too. We're also going to try to rebound from this. We were really horrible yesterday in practice, he said, but we made a lot of changes. The truck's a lot better now, so hopefully they can go out and put that bad run at Charlotte a couple weeks ago behind them.
What I love most about Joe Shear, he takes a lot from Johnny Sauter. Johnny's very animated on the radio. He tells everybody exactly what he feels, and Joe just takes that, makes decisions, and makes that truck fast. Can Jesse do that? Can this team push forward over the next couple of weeks and remain in the championship hunt? 4 top 5 finishes to start the season. His teammate is leading the championship. Johnny Sauter knows they've got the parts and pieces to win the championship with. Now it becomes a mental game. Can they put it all together with Joe Shear on the sideline?
So that's Johnny Sauter's, I guess, difficulties to go overcome here at this race. Let's try to figure out what we're going to expect in today's race. We've got 36 years old between the two guys that are leading this field to the green flag. How is that going to affect this race?
What we're going to see today is expect the unexpected. And the reason why I say that, you can't spin out at Dover and not crash, right?
No way.
Right. Well, Ty Bodine spun out last year. Not only did he not crash, he came back to win the doggone race. Kyle Busch has been dominant here, but he got to win in 2011, but he hasn't won races that he's dominated in the past. So if things go normal, expect the unexpected and watch Kyle Busch dominate, but can he pull off the victory?
I think Chase Elliott had the best advice coming from his dad, Bill Elliott. Race the racetrack. You've got 200 laps here, 200 miles. That's a long way. They have plenty of tires. They have a set of tires on the truck and 4 down in the pit. So they have plenty of sets of 3 in the pits. That's plenty of tires. So just race this racetrack, get down towards the end and have something to race with.
It's going to be fun.
Krista, expect the unexpected.
Absolutely, and we wouldn't want it any other way. The green flag is getting closer. We'll turn these drivers loose with pre-race ceremonies coming up next.
With diabetes, one more thing I have to control: dry skin.
New Gold Bond Diabetics Dry Skin Relief. 9 out of 10 saw noticeable improvement in 1 hour.
My dry skin under control.
New Gold Bond Diabetics Dry Skin Relief.
This stuff really works.
Camping World, America's largest retailer of RVs, parts, accessories, and service. Visit campingworld.com today. Well, Sunday on race day, Denny is fighting back. Here, Denny Hamlin's plan to make the chase. Plus, Martin Truex Jr. talks about re-taming the monster. NASCAR race day, Sunday at 10:30 Eastern, live on Speed. Well, you are most certainly witnessing history today. Welcome back to the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware, where here as the trucks get ready to roll, we have the youngest front row ever in NASCAR's Top 3 Series. The combined ages of Wallace and Elliott, 36. And the 2 drivers who lined up behind them, Burton and Blaney, are a ripe old 39. By the way, the driver right behind those 4 is Kyle Busch. Will one of them be in victory lane by day's end? You have to stay tuned to find out. By the way, we saw the emotion Darrell Wallace was showing when he won that pole. He is still that excited. He was over here taking pictures of his pole-winning truck just a few moments ago. Now, today's opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, if you would please rise and remove your hats. First of all, I'd like to present to you the Delaware National Guard Color Guard presenting today's colors. And please remain standing as the Delaware National Guard Chaplain Ed Brandt offers today's invocation.
And let us pray. Almighty and gracious God, you are the official sponsor of living. We feel the excitement in the air, smell the fragrance of fuel, see the trails of rubber left from races past, and look forward with great anticipation to the surprises of this race weekend. May the cloak of safety surround everyone, from the drivers behind the wheel to the pit crew on the side to the fans in the stands. We give thanks for first responders, for men and women wearing the uniform, for jobs they do, the places they go, and the races they run to keep us safe. And so gracious God, bless this gathering of your people from all walks of life who are here to enjoy a great race. For in your name we pray, amen.
And here to perform today's national anthem from Macedon, New York, she's just 9 years old, Bailey Morrison.
You say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
This track is not one to reward youth and inexperience. Yes, we've seen first-time winners here before, but to get to victory lane here, you have to stare down the monster. Live racing from Dover is next.
On June 15th, destruction erupts in East Rutherford. The Advanced Auto Parts Monster Jam Path of Destruction. Brought to you by White Castle. All the biggest Monster Jam superstars return to MetLife Stadium. And kids' seats are still just $15 to see Lucas Oil Crusader, Mohawk Warrior, Monster Energy, Monster Mutt Dalmatian, Iron Man, Team Hot Wheels, Advanced Auto Parts Grinder, Son of a Digger, the MetLife Stadium debuts of Zombie, El Diablo, and Scooby-Doo, plus world champions El Toro Loco, Medusa, Gravedigger the Legend, Gravedigger, driven by Dennis Anderson, and attempting the incredible double backflip, Max D, driven by Tom Mentz. Kids' seats are still just $15, so get your tickets now at MonsterJam.com. Don't miss out on one huge night of Monster Jam carnage with the biggest superstars. The Advanced Auto Parts Monster Jam Path of Destruction, June 15th, MetLife Stadium.
And points leader Matt Crafton capitalized on another top 5 finish, while his teammate Johnny Sauter took a hit in the point standings. But this week, there's a monster lurking.
It's not too late to resuscitate me.
Kyle Busch is back as the only person who has been able to tame the monster more than once. Can another driver add his name to that list? Don't let the cool white concrete fool you. This track is lightning fast, and this monster will bite. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is next from Dover.
Welcome to the Lucas Oil 200 from Dover International Speedway. It's the 14th race here at Dover for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Trucks all in line. Drivers have already climbed in and strapped in to their trucks. How tough is this racetrack? Just ask defending series champion James Busher. He has to go to a backup truck after smacking into the wall in his qualifying run. 2 times Kyle Busch has been able to get to victory lane in the truck series here at Dover International Speedway. The Monster Mile hasn't been too tough on him over the years. How about the youth in this series? 17-year-old Chase Elliott will start on the outside of row number 1. His best start in the Camping World Truck Series. Can he get to victory lane and be a first-time winner in the Truck Series? Youngest pole winner ever, Darrell Wallace Jr. earlier today gets his first career pole and celebrated the fact that he will lead the field to the green flag. Let's fire the engines. Here's the command.
And now for those most famous words in all of motorsports, the president of Awesome Engines, Mr. Bill Cannon.
After that national anthem, we have got to be ready for some monster racing. Gentlemen, start your truck engines.
36 trucks have come to life. It's time now to find out who can get to the checkered flag first. 200 laps. Will it be a veteran, or could young Darrell Wallace Jr. get his first career win? The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Lucas Oil, world leader in high-performance lubricants and problem-solving additives for everyday cars and trucks. By Camping World, America's largest retailer of RVs, parts, accessories, and service. Visit campingworld.com today. By Steel. Visit steeldealers.com. And by Aleve, 2 pills, all day strong, all day long. Capitol building there of Dover, Delaware, visiting Dover International Speedway. And the trucks are beginning to roll. Let's go trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. I'll be keeping my eye on Rowdy Busch today. He's run 7 races here at Dover, and he's led in every one of them. A total of 711 laps. He does have 2 wins, but there have been some pretty crazy things happen to Kyle to keep him out of victory lane. How about his hood pins coming out, a tire going bad, transmission, or a fuel pump? Lots of reasons why Kyle didn't get there. I asked him today if he's got a great truck. He said yes. Great truck, great nationwide, and great cup car. Kyle Busch could be going for another sweep. He could win all 3 this weekend at Dover. Hermie?
Well, Ray, your graphic about Kyle Busch talks about how tough this racetrack is, and a couple of our championship contenders are making their jobs that much more difficult. The 31 of James Busher, our defending champion, he qualified 20th, but he will have to go to the back. He crashed in qualifying. He's starting the race from the back of the pack in a backup truck with no laps at Dover this weekend on that truck. Also, the number 3 of Ty Dillon, he qualified 6th. He will have to go to the back as well. He missed the driver's meeting. He's doing double duty this weekend, Truck Series and Nationwide Series. Did not make it to the driver's meeting. He drops to the back as well. Tough road to hoe for the 3 in the 31. Rick?
Thank you, Hermie. We're going to ride along with a few different trucks. Guys, take us through.
25th place starter, Todd Bodine. He's in the Sealmaster Toyota. Went for a little spin and won last year, so he ought to tell Todd Dillon, don't worry about going to the back, bud. It'll be all right.
The 31 of James Busher started out the weekend with a Ream Chevrolet. Now he's in the Rude Chevrolet because this is actually his Texas truck. After a crash and qualifying, had to go to the backup truck. He was originally scheduled to start 20th. Again, goes to the back.
15th place starter is Brendan Gaughan. I said, Brendan, you hadn't won in 10 years. He said, no, I haven't. It's only been 9 years, 7 months, and 20 days. Get off me. And I almost won at Charlotte. This kid is ready to get the job done.
Ty Dillon's coming off a top 5 finish a couple of weeks ago at Charlotte. He will start his Bass Pro Shops Chevy from the 6th position. But again, as we documented, he has to go to the back as well.
He's going to go back there with James Busher. That'll be a fun couple of cameras, couple of trucks to be riding on, watching those guys cut through this field. We've got 1 to go, and they're going to be pretty serious about getting to the front.
Let's look at the particulars of Dover International Speedway, the Monster Mile in our Camping World track description.
The thing that jumps out most to me, Rick, is those 9-degree bank straightaways. We call this a self-cleaning racetrack. That's going to be important for these drivers to remember. Somebody spins, gets loose up top, they're going to the bottom. This whole place is like a bowl, and everything goes to the bottom of the bowl.
A lot of rubber on the racetrack right now. Differing strategies down on pit road. They think it'll get looser, the more rubber. Some people think it'll get tighter, the more rubber we get down on the racetrack. And one thing's for sure, we'll have more rubber on the racetrack.
And what I know is most evident about this place is its multiple grooves, and that's evident by the fact that Darrell Wallace Jr. looks like he's picked the outside starting position. At Dover, used to back in the day, you'd always die for the bottom. Everyone wanted the bottom. Darrell said, I'll take the top. That means we're going to see good 2, even 3 wide racing here on the high banks of Dover.
Great addition to Dover International Speedway. They put that little viewing area up above turn number 3 just as you enter turn 3.
It's a turn 3 suite.
The suite.
You can get a shrimp cocktail in there while you're watching your favorite NASCAR stars. I love that viewing area.
What's Kyle Busch thinking right now? He's got 4 drivers in front of him. Their average age is 19.
It's cool to see Kyle's not the kid, right? He knows he's got some youth in front of him, and he's going to go get those boys.
Darrell Wallace Jr.'s first career pole brings the field to the green flag. We're underway at Dover. Great start for Darrell Wallace Jr. on that outside line. Was able to get by Chase Elliott, takes the lead. Down the backstretch they go nose to tail.
Great battle for third, side by side. Jeff Burton, the 4 on the inside. Ryan Blaney, the 29 on the outside.
And sliding already. Timothy Peters in the 17. Around goes Max Gresham in the 8.
Caution, there's a wreck high up off of 4.
Max got some damage coming off his career best finish last time out at Charlotte. Got a 3rd place finish, but that truck's tore up here, Phil. Looks like maybe Timothy Peters escaped without a lot of damage. He'll still be able to compete, but this truck here is in trouble.
Yeah, we saw the 3 of Ty Dillon actually come to a stop down on the apron of the racetrack.
How crazy is this sport? Best run of his career last time out at Charlotte, a 3rd place finish. Here on the first lap, he's tore up.
Yeah, we see damage to the 7 of John West Townley as well.
Yeah, John West caught a piece of that as the 8 was spinning.
We saw originally the 17 of Timothy Peters out in front. Let's take another look.
Oh, looks like Timothy thought Max would be down a little bit lower, and if I'm Timothy, I agree. Looks like Gresham didn't turn left when he got to the end of the back straightaway as much as you might have expected, Phil, and got into the side of Peters.
Let's ride along with Brendan Gaughan and see what he saw.
He sees a truck spinning. He dives low.
Stay down, spin in front of you. He's coming back down. Go to the apron, go to the apron, go to the apron.
We talked about this track being self-cleaning, but those trucks were able to hang up to the top, and Brendan was wanting to go high. Did you see him? He really slowed down. He's like, I know they're coming down. I know they're coming down.
And then he gassed her up and went by on the low side.
Second lap, and Max Gresham will be climbing out of the number 8. Issues for the 17 of Timothy Peters. John West Townley also caught up in this one. So the first caution comes out on lap number 2 of the Lucas Oil 200 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Fast Friday continuing here on Speed, presented by the makers of Aleve. A little bit of damage to the 27. It's Jeff Agnew.
You could see John West Townley clipped Timothy Peters as it went by him, and maybe some further contact for John West after that. Looks like maybe Peters is going to skate out of this little collision there, Phil, with the truck that he can still win this race with.
Yeah, pretty fortunate for Timothy Peters. A long way to go here, and again, enough tires here to get through this race here. There's been situations before as we watched James Busher make his way to pit road. Really nothing to lose here. Come in here and work on this truck. Remember, crash qualifying, so this is the first lap on the racetrack for this 31 truck. Herman, what's going on with that 31?
Well, he's coming back down pit road again. We talked about first laps on the racetrack is when the green flag fell. A little bit of puff of smoke. I saw it on the first couple of laps. He's been to pit road. A potential power steering issue with the 31. James has no power steering. They're going to see if they can figure out what's going on and see if it's a quick fix, but more potential problems for Busher.
This be a tough place here without power steering.
My arms are hurting thinking about it.
And we're only 6 laps into this race in Dover. Stay with us. Welcome back. Cleanup continues from our first incident on the racetrack.
That escalated quickly, didn't it?
It escalated very quickly.
Really had all the practice sessions we were very, very clean. We had the one incident with James Busher qualifying, and bam, we go one lap.
And surprisingly, Max Gresham not happy with Timothy Peters, thinking that it was Timothy Peters' fault. We're not so sure if there's fault to be thrown on anyone yet.
Well, I think that Gresham just didn't take a left when he got to the end of the back straightaway. He was too high for where he was at on the racetrack. I don't know how he was going to make the turn. Timothy didn't do anything wrong. He just got hit. So maybe when he looks at the replay, he'll see that he could have been a lot lower.
Once again, Darrell Wallace Jr. will choose the outside line for this start. Chase Elliott on the inside. Green flag back in the air.
Another great start by Bubba. He's able to clear Chase Elliott before they get down to turn number 1. Now side by side for second. Ryan Blaney fighting for second on the outside.
A lot of people said keep your eye on that 29 truck of Blaney down in the garage area. They're talking about how strong he was in practice yesterday, and he hung right out beside Chase Elliott there on that first start, and looks like he indeed does have a fast truck. Matt Crafton trying the high side.
Love to see these trucks able to work the outside like you were talking about, Michael. Bubba Wallace choosing the outside. He knew that there was some grip out there.
And how about the crossover move right there by Matt Crafton? You say he's trying the outside. The next corner, he's on the inside trying to get by Jeff Burton.
And if you're a race car driver, all you want is options. Give me something that I can do that the other guy isn't doing, and that's what Matt Crafton did there. He didn't like the high side with another truck inside of him, so he decided to go to the bottom. Couldn't make that work either, though, Phil.
Now, this is a foreign situation with Darrell Wallace Jr. He's out in front. He's got a great truck leading laps. Is there something he needs to do early in this race to maybe not make his equipment, work his equipment too hard early?
Like Bill Elliott told Chase, race this racetrack out. He's got a comfortable truck out here as we watch Brendan Gaughan making his way through the field. Brendan, remember, started back in the 15th spot. He's up to 9th now. Watch this. This is Herman Quiroga on the inside. They make a little bit of contact. We know Brendan's going to be on the outside.
Right. And how about close quarters racing in NASCAR? I mean, that's at 150 miles an hour coming onto the straightaway. These guys are all over one another, and that's how intense things are. You're going to win this truck race, you're probably going to ruffle or get your feathers ruffled somewhere along the way.
Over a 1 second lead already now for Bubba Wallace. Remember, he has some success here. He's had some success. He won a K&N race. He had set on a pole twice for K&N cars. Set on a pole for the nationwide race last year and the pole this year. 3 poles, 3 different divisions.
Here's a guy that's on the move as well. Ty Dillon making his way inside the top 20 now. Used that early caution to pick up a few spots, and he's moving. That truck's fast. Anytime you miss a driver's meeting, you want to prove to your crew you're going to get that all back for them, and that's exactly what Ty is doing right now, getting it back.
Already made up 16 spots starting from the back and has been moving up, continues to move up. He's running in the 17th position now.
You see how much he closed on those trucks ahead of him on the entry to turn 1, and there he drives
and
up.
the exit also.
Exactly. Very fast. That's Joey Coulter. He's already caught there. Joey's racing along with Tim George Jr. So these are some good trucks that Ty is just eating up.
And being very careful when he does it. So he didn't force the issue with Joey Coulter. He just followed him down through the corner. Now he's going to try to just pick his way by. Here, Joey Coulter now may decide to go to the outside of Tim George to get a spot.
Again, we'll also keep our eye on the 31 of James Busher. They had power steering issues as he's running in the 25th position. And Ty Dillon continues to work his way toward the front.
We could hear him work that throttle. You know, this is not a traditional racetrack where you drive down the corner, you stomp the throttle and drive it off. You have to play with that throttle a lot here.
Especially when you're in this type of traffic. He's really watching closely what Coulter's doing on the outside of Caleb Holman, how those trucks are reacting. He's making sure, like you said, Phil, he's got a fast truck. He's 3rd in the points, racing for a championship. He doesn't want to make a mistake here early that could cost him.
This might be one of the few tracks where you really feel that sensation of speed when you ride along with these trucks. I mean, especially James Busher here in the Rude truck. We're driving along, diving into these turns, and you're thinking, I don't know if this is going to stick.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you have to ask yourself. How is this thing going to, there's a lot of grip. So subsequently, when you lose traction, it goes in a hurry because you're going so fast.
I mean, after our truck series qualifying this morning, we went across the crossover bridge at the exit of turn number 2. It's hard to even explain how fast those guys are running at the exit of turn 2. And again, that's one of the slowest parts of the racetrack. They go 30 miles an hour faster when they get down to the end of the straightaway.
1 mile racetrack, 24 degrees banking in the turns, and Darrell Wallace Jr. has figured it out early in this race. Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, we've run 5 races this season, and it's pretty much been a 4-tire stop on most of our pit stops this year. But today, I think you may see that change. A number of guys on pit road talking about going with right side tires only. This racetrack has taken a lot of rubber today. And yes, it's very hot and it's very slick, but track position will mean a lot. So we may see 2-tire stops this afternoon.
Be an interesting strategy if you're having troubles making up ground on the racetrack. Try to make up ground on pit road.
It's the easiest place to pass, doing it on pit road.
Check out our leader. You think he's just long for a Friday afternoon cruise? Sideways down in the middle of turn 1 and 2. So he's got his hands full. There's
Crafton.
Matt Crafton getting around Jeb Burton. So Matt, we talked to him before qualifying. He said his crew totally changed his truck after practice yesterday. Didn't know what he was going to have. Solid qualifying run, and now up inside the top 5 in the 4th spot.
I saw Matt right after qualifying. I said, boy, that truck looked a lot better. He said, yeah. He said, we went out there for practice yesterday, and he said the splitter's bouncing off the racetrack, bouncing everywhere. He said it's amazing what the guys were able to do overnight for that thing for qualifying, and now looks like he's got a pretty good race truck too.
I'm a little bit surprised about this guy, Phil. Kyle Busch started back in the 6th spot or 5th spot, and he's in 6th now. He hasn't gone anywhere. We're used to, like I said in the opening, watch him lead lap after lap after lap here at Dover, but he's not making any progress at all.
The rubber in it now. It's loose right where the rubber helped yesterday.
That's what's so valuable about a man like Kyle Busch. He understands his truck. He knows what he wants to feel. Relaying to the crew exactly the adjustment he wants so that he can get going. And he's not going right now. The truck is loose, and he's not able to make the kind of progress that we're used to seeing from him.
And we know, Kyle, if that truck was capable, he would be driving up towards the lead. So he's obviously has some issues right now. We talked about he needs that rubber in the left rear. That truck's a little bit too loose for him.
Did make it up into the 5th spot as he was able to get by Jeb Burton. It's Darrell Wallace Jr. with about a 1.4 second lead over Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Matt Crafton, Kyle Busch, your top 5. Burton, Sauter, Chastain, Brendan Gaughan, and Ron Hornaday are your top 10. Darrell Wallace Jr., after becoming the youngest pole winner, well, he'd like to get to victory lane, and he'd like to do it right here at Dover.
I wanted to do something in the town that I love with something that I love. I like yarn.
Patricia's Yarns in Hoboken, New Jersey is an Optimum business.
I've had Optimum since I've opened my shop. I've not had a problem the whole time. Patricia's Yarn.
Upgrade your business to Optimum for as little as $59.90 a month for a year when you order Optimum phone and internet together.
I want a service that's going to stand up and be consistent. I want it just to work.
Support your local businesses like Patricia's Yarns. Learn more at OptimumBusiness.com.
The Monster Mile. Join the fun as Marcus Ambrose and J.J. Yaley stop by the Ultimate Track Party. It's NASCAR trackside tomorrow at noon right here on Speed. While we were at break, one driver came over the radio and said a few things that you never want to hear over the radio. It just quit. And the driver is the 3, Ty Dillon. Listen in.
Something broke, something fell off. I mean, look on the inside over yonder. Pull the hood up, let's look at everything. Check the batteries.
Yeah, these guys are still trying to diagnose the problem. Crew Chief Marcus Richmond does not know what the problem is. They came in, first of all, changed the battery, thought it may have lost power on the racetrack. Now they don't know if the engine is locked up or something in the drivetrain is preventing the truck from even turning over when they try to push it on pit road. So big trouble for the 3 team.
Take a big hit in the points, one of our point contenders.
Oh, yeah. And again, having to start in the back, missing the drivers meeting earlier, and now adding insult to injury, we've got mechanical issues.
Yeah, 3rd coming in points, 27 back.
Another guy that's going to take a hit the points are subject to is the 31 of James Buescher. Darrell Wallace Jr. is about to put Buescher a lap down already. That's Buescher just ahead of Wallace, and you know, we saw James's day start off a little bit rough this morning when he got in the outside wall off turn 2, had to go to a backup truck. They worked on the truck, had some power steering issues, but he's not up to speed at all. And just 34 laps into this 200 lapper, looks like our leader is going to track him down and put him a lap behind if the caution doesn't fly.
And we're wondering if he got his power steering issue solved, because you don't have to be just a little bit off here, and it's so magnified as hard as these guys run around here. But if you have no power steering like James was fighting at one time, boy, it's going to make it tough.
Sure, James is hoping the momentum would continue. His last 2 races, 6th place finishes. Wanting to get back up into the top 10 here at Dover, maybe a top 5 finish. But as you mentioned, our race leader, Darrell Wallace Jr., closing in on the back bumper of that 31. Running second, the 94 of Chase Elliott. He's about 2 seconds back, right?
Got a pretty good truck today, Rick. You know, all the chassis that this team runs come from Turner Motorsports, and he drove this particular truck at Rockingham and got a top 5. But Chase just came on the radio and told his crew chief Lance McGrew, I am loose everywhere. They said, well, can you put a number on it? He said a 6 down in 1 and 2 and a 7 in 3 and 4. That's pretty loose.
And still holding on to second. He's got about a half a second lead over 3rd place Matt Crafton.
Yeah, we can see Matt's about 3-4 truck lengths behind Ryan Blaney. Not too far, right behind the 88 of Crafton.
We talked about these tires, or these teams having tires in the pits. They'll come get them now if the caution falls.
Oh, yeah.
We've already seen about a 1.5 seconds, close to it, a fall off in our lead truck. So there goes Darrell Wallace right up on the tailgate of Buescher. Can't make that move yet. You can see there's Kyle Larson, excuse me, that's the 32 of Pluto battling with Tim George. So
see Kyle Busch right side of your screen taking over the 4th spot from Ryan Blaney.
You can see him wiggling there. We talk about loose, but Phil, the further you go here at Dover, sometimes your truck will have the tendency to tighten up. So Kyle managed the start of the race without getting sideways too much early, and now he's able to run her straight and harder off the turn. So maybe this will play into his hands, this long green flag run we're having here at the start.
And now to the outside, Darrell Wallace Jr. making the pass on James Buescher.
And that's Miguel Pluto, another lead lap truck. So right now, Buescher is your Aaron's lucky dog, and he needs that caution to fall right now so he can get some work on that truck.
So Darrell taking his time, giving the guys a lot of room here.
Learned his lesson from 2 weeks ago.
Had a great truck at Charlotte. End up trying to get, I believe, the 2nd spot. End up getting together with that truck as we see Chase Elliott and Matt Crafton continuing the battle for the 3rd spot.
I think Kyle Busch is hunting these 2 down for that 2nd spot. You can see him just a couple of trucks behind Jeff Agnew there. So Kyle's joining the battle for 2nd.
Just as you mentioned, if you start out a little bit loose, as you burn a little fuel out, the tires build up air pressure, that thing will start coming around, and it's amazing how much quicker your lap times can be. And Kyle Busch is certainly somebody smart enough to know how to manage that till he gets there, as we see Matt Crafton try to get to the inside of Chase Elliott.
Ooh, that's close racing. Those trucks have a tendency to push up off turn 4. And Matt was down on the inside of Elliott. It looked like he had his hands full keeping off of the young Chase Elliott.
Darrell Wallace.
He didn't give you a lot of room there. Just pick them apart. 5 back to the 51.
Has led 42 laps in his career coming into today's race, and with that lap he just led his 42nd lap of this race.
He doubled it.
And there's no one that's surprised about that, Rick. This young man has been so solid all season long. We talk about where he is in the points, but heck, at Rockingham with just a few laps to go, he's in position to get a solid top 10 and wreck. Same thing happened at Charlotte. So a couple of accidents. When you're young and you're fast, you know, you're going to make a mistake or two, ruffle some feathers, and that's what's happened to him. But he's certainly on the gas, and love seeing a kid show up like Darrell Wallace Jr. and be right on pace and have a chance to lead laps and win races.
Going way up high, trying to get by that 5 of Tim George Jr. It looks as though Tim was moving up the racetrack about the time Darrell had decided to go to the high side.
Yeah, trying to get by the 59 of Kyle Martell. Bubba able to negotiate that pass. Now he's lapped up until the 20th. Oh, Norm Benning around.
And he's going to straighten it back out, and the caution will come out.
Well, someone spun again at Dover and didn't wreck. I don't think I ever accomplished that. Did you, Phil?
I don't think so.
We got some flat tires.
Flat tires for the 57 of Norm Benning, but timing is working out well. Tim George Jr. was the last truck to go a lap down and will more than likely get the free pass as we see Norm Benning sliding coming out of turn 2 all by himself.
Watch him, he just lets off the brake just at the right time. So Norm, although he's out of control, he's spinning and driving that baby and kept it out of the wall. Great job.
Let's hear from Ty Dillon. He's with Hermie.
Yeah, he's in the garage. I want to quickly hear from Ty. You guys are still trying to diagnose the problem. Any idea what's going on?
I'm pretty sure it's motor. I think we're done. The motor blew up. Our ECR power's been great all year. I've never had a failure, and this is definitely the first. But just not a good day for us here at Dover. Started off with missing the driver's meeting and just a lot of things out of my hands and my guys' hands that hurt us today. And I hate it for Bass Pro Shop and all my guys. We've been really getting better and better, and I feel like today we actually really had a chance to win. And it hurts when things like that happen. The good thing is it's early in the year, and it'll hurt us a little bit in the points, but we're going to win some races, and we'll move on. And just hate it, man. It's tough on a hot day like this when you feel like you got a good car and motor takes a little hiatus from the race. So, but we'll be fine. We'll move on.
That's Ty Dillon. Rick.
Thanks, Romy. And it looks as though pit road still closed as the field has got in behind the pace car. So this time, once they come around one more time, I'm guessing we'll see the entire field make its way onto pit road. As you talked about, 45 laps into this race, and already the lap times have fallen off almost a second and a half.
Yeah, Todd's lost his window net. He's trying to hold it up, and luckily he's kind of caution right now. Phil, he'd been on pit road fixing that.
And there's no telling how long that has happened, because Todd probably would have tried to hold it up so it wouldn't be obvious, and they make him pit under green, which could be devastating to his day. So he did a great job getting to the caution with that window net down.
Yeah, he started back in the 25th spot. We talked about him on his onboard camera. He's driven up to the 16th position, so a decent run early for Todd. That would have messed his day up completely. So good break with this caution for the spin.
We saw Kyle Busch hold his window net up, I believe it was at Atlanta, for numerous laps, trying to make sure NASCAR didn't see that his window net had fallen down.
But then there we were.
They did, and we noticed it, and sure enough, they did black flag Kyle and make him come onto pit road. But as you mentioned, a caution falling at the right time for Todd Bodine. He'll be making his way. There's that suite we talked about.
And there's those shrimp cocktails. Awesome. I'm sure those people are enjoying them. And look at those trucks coming underneath them. That's a thrill, right?
Yeah, that's at 55 miles an hour or something like that. How about at 170 miles an hour?
These guys are focused on getting their trucks in and off pit road. Hermie, what do we got down there?
Well, Johnny Sauter happier with his truck now than he was in practice, but still a lot of work to do. Tight center off is the issue for the 98 of Sauter. They're going to put 4 tires on this truck, a small wedge adjustment and a little air pressure adjustment to try to free it up off the corners. Ray?
Hermie, when you look at the top of the screen, you see that Aaron's Dream Machine. I told you Chase Elliott was very, very loose. He said he's free everywhere, especially landing off the corner. Matt Crafton was right up to his back bumper with that Menards Toyota. He comes pulling in. You see on the left of your screen, that is our pole winner and the fastest truck so far, the Camping World Toyota, Bubba Wallace. Bubba said he needs a little more side bite. We'll keep an eye on the run off of pit road. Bubba Wallace has that number 2 pit stall, the first one on the line. Chase Elliott is going to get out of there. It's going to be a real close run to the line. Crafton will come out third.
Great pit work by Lance McGrew's guys for Chase Elliott to get him off pit road first. See, Kyle Busch loses 5 spots on pit road.
That's a result of pushing that rubber in the left rear, I would assume, Phil. Probably some adjustments to the 51 truck that he felt like he could overcome by tightening his truck up, pass him on the track, gave up that track position. Whoa, we're hearing on the radio.
94 is going to get slapped in the hand.
I was just thinking when these guys came down pit road, boy, now is not the time to make any mistakes. It sounds like the 94 of Chase Elliott was busted for speeding in the last segment. That's why he was able to get by the Bubba Wallace. He sped in the last segment.
And what happens there, Phil? He just said, I'm just going to bump it 100 RPMs or so I can get around Wallace. He's not going to like that. He did get around him, but sped to do so. So he'll have to go to the back. You have to sort of balance risk versus reward, and he risked it all to get the lead. And
take another look at the stop by the 94.
We're here in the very last segment is where he was caught speeding,
which is the segment he was in.
He was
stopped. And maybe they felt like he couldn't speed in that segment, Phil. I don't know. There might be a small segment at the very end of pit road that got him, but he was certainly setting still. So you'd think that maybe there's one more segment there that he didn't get slowed down for.
So he will drop back. Miguel Paludo. Numerous drivers looking for their first win, but it's Darrell Wallace Jr. that's been dominant here at Dover. Chase Elliott suffering the penalty of speeding on pit road.
Yeah, he's going to have to make his way down pit road. Ray, what's going on with the 94 team?
Well, Phil, keep in mind Chase Elliott is pitted in pit stall number 6. So once he came out, he said to his dad, Bill, on the radio, I was under the impression I could get what I could get there. They said, no, you've got to be under the pit road speed all the way out to that yellow line. He said, okay, my bad. So it's quite apparent that he is aware that he gave it a little extra gas to try to get that lead, and it didn't pay off. He'll go to the tail of the field.
Remember at Rockingham last year, Nelson Piquet had a dominant truck, and he made a mistake similar to that, leaving the pit. He sped, cost him his track position, and wound up not being able to win the race. So early in the going, you hope to be able to overcome a penalty this early, but man, this competition is so tough. It's going to be hard to do.
And we showed the battle off pit road. We saw Chase winning that battle to the line, but the last speed line goes onto that yellow line. It's yellow line coming in to yellow line coming out. So it may have been a little farther than he thought that he could get busted for it.
Sound like there was some confusion there for the young man. So learning steps along the way.
That moves the 88 of Matt Crafton up to the second spot, and he will start on the inside of row number 1. Once again, Darrell Wallace Jr. has chose the outside line. We're seeing Jennifer Jo Cobb in the 10 being held, pitted outside of her pit box.
She's sitting outside her pit box right now. The black line actually is the pit line.
This is going to be an interesting restart. A lot of adjustments these trucks, Phil. They could be, the complexion of this race could really change here.
Green flag back in the air. This time the inside line moving with Matt Crafton. Darrell Wallace Jr. doesn't have an easy run to the bottom of the racetrack now, and he will be battling for the lead as they come off of 2.
Boy, fought hard on the outside to wrestle that lead back from Matt Crafton.
Jeff Burton moves in front of the 98 of Johnny Sauter.
And then moves way up the hill, forces Johnny up high.
That movement allows the 29 of Ryan Blaney to have a peek underneath Sauter, but he's got his hands full with Brendan Gaughan in the 62 way up the racetrack.
This doesn't look like there's quite enough grip on the top to hang on if you go way up high, but certainly in the middle of the road there's some good grip. So these guys are having some good side-by-side battles.
There's Kyle Busch, the 51, moves to the inside of Brendan Gaughan. Remember, Kyle restarted 8th after the penalty to Chase Elliott. Now racing for the top 5.
Yeah, and after qualifying 5th, he was 6th for most of the first of the race. He was able to make some moves as the tires heated up. But this time it looks like from the get-go, he's got a faster truck.
Jennifer Jo Cobb's truck, after coming off pit road, caused some anxious moments for our lead trucks right here.
Ray Dunlap.
Big air pressure adjustment for Kyle Busch in that Toyota Care Tundra. They also put a spring rubber in the left rear. That's why he got off pit road in 8th. But Kyle just said, thank you guys, much, much better.
That should be scary for the rest of the field if Kyle Busch's truck was much, much better. Remember, he had moved his way up to the 4th spot before that caution flag came out.
Out in front of the field, almost a second lead now by Darrell Wallace Jr. over Matt Crafton. Jeff Burton running in the 3rd spot. Ryan Blaney and Kyle Busch your top 5.
Joey Coulter, the 18 truck, trying to make his way underneath the 98 of Johnny Sauter. Ross Chastain in his Ford right behind the 18 of Joey Coulter.
These two up here fighting for the 9th position. Joey Coulter on the inside. Hermie.
Rick, the 18 is really starting to make a little bit of headway. Qualified 24th. They've driven his way up to 11th. Under green, had a pretty good pit stop. He was a little bit tight. Excuse me, a little bit free in the center of the corner. They tighten him up with some air pressure. They know they need to get this 18 team turned around and run up front every week. And so far, so good in the first 56 laps here at Dover.
What about that battle, man? They're all over one another. Great race there for a spot just outside the top 10.
How about John West Holland? Remember how much damage he got on that first lap incident. He's up here racing with these guys just outside the top 10.
There's the Delaware Maryland Mellon truck of Chase.
Really easy for you to say.
Golly,
it's really from the Delmarva Peninsula, I would think.
Yeah, it's Mellon 1, and that's a great team there that Brad Keselowski's put together for Ross Chastain, and great sponsorship from the Watermelon board, and it's good to see him running up front.
Out in front of the field, Darrell Wallace Jr. continuing to dominate. Dover International Speedway, the Monster Mile. Darrell Wallace Jr. going at it. Sunday, the Sprint Cup Series takes on the Monster Mile, where NASCAR points leader Jimmy Johnson will look for his 8th career victory. Tries to defend his title against NASCAR's best. Fox Sports exclusive coverage of the FedEx 400 benefiting Autism Speaks begins Sunday at 12:30 Eastern on Fox. And the caution comes out for the 07 of C.J. Faison. Hard into the inside wall.
That's normally what you see when some sort of an issue happens. You get sideways and lose control. Normally you slide down to the inside. Let's see if we can take a look at the top of your screen.
You get the worst of both worlds. He hits the outside wall and then self-cleaning. Like we said, the track just sweeps everything to the bottom. The 19-year-old, he's from the Delmarva area.
Let's get the Delmarva Chevy dealers on board for sponsorship.
And that truck is stopped just past the start-finish line. Watch how hard he hits this inside wall.
Front and rear.
Probably running, what, 80, 90 miles an hour when he hits that wall and stops with a couple 30 feet.
Faster. Yeah.
C.J. Faison making his first start in the Truck Series. 16 career K&N East starts coming into this race.
Speed revs up the action with live sprint.
Sunday on race day, Denny's fighting back. Here is plan to make it to the chase. Plus, Truex talks about retaming the monster. NASCAR race day Sunday at 10:30 Eastern, live on Speed.
Great qualifying effort from Truex. Could be starting on the front row on Sunday.
And let's go trackside to Hermie Sadler.
Well, Rick, the 98 of Johnny Sauter restarted 4th on this most recent restart. Now he's back to 11th. The problem, the racetrack is hitting the splitter all through the center and the exit of the corner. They took a big swing on the air pressure. 3 pounds out of the right front, 2 pounds out of the right rear. They're hoping on the next run, a little bit of air pressure will get this truck back off the racetrack, and Johnny can make his way back towards the front. Ray?
Hermie, because Chase Elliott got his speeding penalty on lap 47, he was in the back of the field. So Lance McGrew, his crew chief, said, come on down pit road. They put 4 tires on that truck, filled it up with Sunoco fuel, and also put a little bit of wedge in the left rear. They got all those adjustments made. They hope it makes the truck better. And guess what, guys? They only lost 1 spot on the racetrack by doing it. Could put them in a completely different fuel window.
I like this. I like all these strategies teams are playing. Mix things up a little bit. We've seen long green flag runs here at Dover, and if we have one here, it could change this race.
And I like the leader staying out, but I love Chase Elliott coming to pit road.
And what a fast truck he's got, Phil. He had driven up inside the top 15 after being dropped to the back, so he could have something for him today.
60 of Dakota Armstrong carrying a few different decals this week. One of those being Gleaning for the World. That's a large charity organization that's working to help raise funds, donations, and support for the Oklahoma tornado victims. A tragic event taking place there just over a week ago.
You're going to make your way to Oklahoma here after this race.
A lot of folks from the NASCAR community were there this past week.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson went there, and his wife Shani is from that area, and they went back to help raise funds. Blake Shelton had an amazing concert on that raised millions of dollars for that community, that area that was devastated by those tornadoes. So really a lot of effort has gone into paying attention and trying to help those folks in Oklahoma. And I'm proud to be a part of this NASCAR community that always reaches out and tries to help when they can.
Once again, 2 by 2, the field lines up behind the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr.
Just mentioned that the 31 of James Busher was able to get the free pass, so he is back on the lead lap now, just outside the top 20 and 21st.
Matt Crafton once again on the inside. So Darrell Wallace Jr. has decided that the inside lines or the outside line is the place to be on the restarts. That's where he had the first start of this race as well after winning the pole. We'll see if it works once again as they come out of turn number 4. Getting ready for the green flag back in the air.
Remember that battle they had on the last restart. Matt stayed right with him. Darrell drove by him on the outside.
Doing it once again. Crafton on the inside. Darrell Wallace Jr. running that higher line. Keeping the momentum up as he works his way through 2, and he'll have the lead going down the backstretch.
Darrell did a nice job. Gave Matt a little bit of room. Didn't crowd him down there. Caused him to get loose.
Here comes Jeff Burton looking to the inside of that 62. There's Gone, able to keep the momentum up and hold his position.
What about Timothy Peters? What about Peters? We talked about his truck early in the race in a crash, and now he's already racing inside the top 10. Looks like maybe that right front fender that was bent in that wreck, they not only fixed it, but maybe even helped it a little bit because of the damage, and it's looking like it's paying off.
Kyle Busch in the 51 working to the low side of the track, able to go by not only the 62 but the 4, passes both trucks in one turn.
Yeah, Jeff Burton drove it hard in the corner, slid up in front of Brendan Gaughan, opened up the bottom for Kyle, and he drove by both of them.
You know, we talked this morning about how these guys were wide open and stuck to the road in qualifying. They're not anymore. These trucks are sliding all over the place. It's fun to watch.
Jeff Burton dropping back just to the 5th spot now. 6th actually, as Gaughan has been able, or is just behind him. So 5th for Jeff Burton, Ray.
Two problems for that Arrowhead Chevrolet. Number one, Jeb said his floorboard is absolutely on fire. Said both of his feet are really, really hot. And the other problem is the truck's okay at the very bottom of the racetrack, but if he gets up in that middle groove, he said it is out of control. Mike Hillman Jr., his crew chief, said adjust the brake bias. He added 4 rounds to the rear.
Big adjustment for Jeb Burton.
Yeah, it's fun to see Jeb and these kids learning so much. You know, anytime a truck's hot in the floorboard, that's the driver's responsibility. He's got to give the crew a heads up about what he's feeling in practice. Then if you need to add some brake here or there, all these are lessons that he's just going to store away and make him a better racer as he goes forward. And he's darn good already. It's been fun to watch him come out and be a competitor week in and week out, set on poles, lead laps. So this kid is taking a lot in right now, and it sure is fun to watch.
He's doing an awesome job here running up in the top 5, but a truck I'm keeping my eye on is that 94 Chase Elliott. We saw how good he was early in the race, running up in the top 2, had a pit road speeding penalty, brought him back to pit road here. Now he's made his way just outside the top 10, and remember, he pitted 18 laps later than all the guys right now running in front of him. So as far as pit strategy goes, he's in the driver's seat right now, because that caution could come out if these guys have to make green flag pit stops, and for 15 laps, he's got a cushion.
You know what I love also is he made his way through a lot of trucks with those fresh tires. You got to be careful doing that. When you're faster than the trucks you're passing, if you take something for granted, take for granted a guy sees you down on the inside and he doesn't, could get you in trouble in a hurry. So having a fast truck like that's quite a big responsibility, and he's just picked his way through trucks, and now he's caught up to the back of the top 10. That's John West Townley in the 7 truck. He's running in the 10th spot, and Chase is looking under him off turn 2.
Yeah, just a handful of laps to go. Chase restarted in the 17th position, and again, knocking on the door in the top 10.
And these guys aren't going to battle him too hard, I don't believe, because they know he's got the fresher tires and he's caught them. So you can see John West roll up top, let him by. Now he'll go up and try to put the move on Armand Quiroga. I like the way that truck looks right down on that asphalt. That's the groove you want to run if your truck's handling perfectly. Stick that left front tire right at the bottom of the concrete against that asphalt, and that's what he was able to do down in turns 1 and 2. Had to go up high there to get around a lap truck, but if you're fast, that's a hard groove to beat here at Dover.
And guys, that truck has been fast since they unloaded. He had the fastest time combined in both practice sessions on Thursday, and then qualified in the front row for today's race, and been up in the top 2 till that pit road speeding penalty.
It's been all Darrell Wallace Jr. since the drop of the initial green flag. Now he has a 1.4 second lead over Matt Crafton. Crafton running in the 2nd spot, Ryan Blaney 3rd, Kyle Busch and Jeff Burton your top 5. Darrell Wallace Jr. running a flawless race up to this point, wants to continue that for the remaining 121 laps. We've completed 79 here in Dover. One of the toughest rings that they will ever take on is the Monster Mile in Dover International Speedway. Right now, Darrell Wallace Jr. is enjoying a 2.8 second lead over Matt Crafton. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch back there in 4th. Jeff Burton is 5th. One of the trucks that we've been watching, though, has been Chase Elliott. He's currently in the 9th spot, moving up.
His forward progress stalled out a little bit when he chased Joey Coulter down. He caught Joey about 5 or 6 laps ago and hasn't been able to do anything with him. But, we saw Kyle Busch there a few moments ago as he gets by Ryan Blaney. He has really moved the groove up. He was about the 3rd lane up there. He's gotten by Ryan Blaney for the 3rd spot as Chase Elliott is going to drive to the inside of Joey Coulter to try to get 8th spot away.
Kyle's really having to work that truck around. He's got to really experiment with it and see what it's going to take to make moves. We've watched him just dominate here. He led over 100 laps in the last 3 races, more than 100 laps in each of the last 3 races, so he knows how to get it done here. But today, his truck doesn't seem to be that fast, so it's going to be a lot of adjusting and adapting for Kyle.
Bill Elliott on the left side of your screen, father of Chase Elliott, watching.
Bill's able to help Chase with so much experience, and he's been there. He's been there and he's done that. And he told Chase told us in the pre-race show, just race this racetrack, and they're doing a great job. Made a mistake on pit road, have been able to overcome that. Change the strategy up a little bit as we watch Timothy Peters, who's made a nice recovery after that first lap incident, up into the top 10.
You can see that right front fender's bent up there, but it hasn't compromised that truck too greatly. He's able to make some good moves, hanging right there on the back tailgate of Brendan Gaughan, running in the 7th spot. And here comes Chase back up on the back of those two. Whoa.
Big wiggle out of Herman Quiroga as he came out of turn 4. Battle for the 2nd spot. Kyle Busch trying to take it away from Crafton, but the pick is set by that 99 of Brian Silas.
Kyle was hoping that Brian Silas would have gone to the inside, then he would have had a free path around the outside. Didn't happen. Watch Kyle. Watch how high he runs down to this end of the racetrack.
That's what we said. He's just looking for grip. He's finding some up there right at the top of the groove. He's able to get around the outside of Crafton and take over the 2nd spot.
Kyle Busch moves up to the 2nd position. Now we'll try to close in on his truck. Darrell Wallace Jr. in the 54.
One thing that does also is when he moves to the outside like that, Matt Crafton. Still loose on exit. Matt Crafton will lose him in his peripheral vision. He wouldn't be able to see him in the mirror, so he have a tendency to want to give him room at the exit of the corner to the outside.
Yeah, we're still in the first half of this race, and any mistake made now can be very, very detrimental to any chance you have of winning. So it's better to err on the side of conservative right now. Just work on your truck. Like we heard Kyle reporting there, he's continuing to give his crew information they need to make adjustments to make that truck better. He has fallen. He and the rest of the guys chasing Bubba Wallace are about 2 seconds behind the number 54 truck of Wallace. So what a great day for Bubba. He gets a new sponsor and he goes out and dominates the first half of the race.
But bad news for Bubba. That last lap, Kyle Busch was a full 1/10 of a second faster than any other truck on the racetrack right now.
There's the lap truck again of Silas. Brendan Gaughan gets to the bottom of Brian, and you can see he's bringing Timothy Peters and the rest with him. This track is so much about momentum. You just catch a guy in the wrong place, you lose your momentum. It can cost you half a second on a given lap. So working through lap traffic is really important and really difficult.
Closing in on that halfway point of this race. There are 19 trucks on the lead lap as Darrell Wallace Jr. has just put Brendan Newberry a lap down. So once again, Bubba Wallace will be trying to put the 31 a lap down. James Busher currently running in the 19th spot.
Great battle right here for the 6th spot. Brendan Gaughan, that Southport Chevrolet has it.
You see the truck of Timothy Peters. I just love how loose these guys are and how much they're having to work these trucks to get where they're going. See Coulter around the outside racing against Herman Quiroga. Herman's hanging in well on the low side. Hermie, what's he reporting down there?
Well, he's actually been really solid all day. They qualified 8th, and he has been relatively quiet on the radio. They made no adjustments on that first pit stop, but the last couple laps he stayed a couple times a little free on exit. So I would expect a little bit of maybe an air pressure adjustment next pit stop. But this team, given his experience level at this racetrack, has been very, very solid today.
Thanks, Hermie. See the momentum that Timothy Peters brings into the turn. And then the 62 is able to pull back away once they come out of the turns. But this time it looks as though Brendan's going to have to figure out a way to get by that 27 of Jeff Agnew.
See Timothy move to the high side, but that's where Jeff Agnew pulled right down in front of Chase Elliott. He went to the high side. Chase was going to take that hole. Timothy said, "Oh, I want it back."
Look at all the momentum Timothy had. That's why he wanted to stick it down to the bottom. Not only did he clear the lap truck, he had a run on Brendan Gaughan as well. But I got excited because things happen here in such a hurry, Phil. I mean, you misjudge it a little bit, and all of a sudden someone's into your truck and you're around backwards. So that was really close.
Brendan Gaughan just in front of Timothy Peters. Those two running in the 6th and 7th spots, and already up to 8th. At 94th, Chase Elliott.
We talked about Brendan and what a good run. 3 top 5s in a row coming into this race, including that second a couple weeks ago at Charlotte.
The gap between 1 and 2 is shrinking. You've got Darrell Wallace Jr. out in front. Kyle Busch has closed the gap to 1.3 seconds. We'll see if Kyle Busch can close in on his truck. Darrell Wallace Jr. still running strong in front of the field. Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is brought to you by Lucas Oil, world leader in high-performance lubricants and problem-solving additives for everyday cars and trucks. Past the halfway point from the Monster Mile, and it's still Darrell Wallace Jr. out in front. The difference now between 1 and 2, a half a second.
Guys, right now the next truck to go a lap down is the 98 of Johnny Sauter. There's our leader, Bubba Wallace. The next truck in front of him, the 98 of Johnny Sauter, we talked about at the top of the show. And there goes Bubba Wallace by Johnny Sauter. Will he miss his crew chief? And I think it's obvious. As good as that truck has been here in the past, even though he didn't get the finishes he deserved, the truck is not that great today.
And look what's coming, Phil.
A storm.
Bubba Wallace has Kyle Busch filling up his rearview mirror. That's got to be a great feeling for Kyle. He talked about how proud he is of owning trucks and racing for a championship. He's running second to one of his own trucks. He's catching the truck he owns to take the lead. That's a pretty cool feeling as an owner.
I don't know if Bubba Wallace wants to let him take the lead.
Well, he's not going to let him, but I'm afraid it's inevitable because on this long run, Kyle's truck's just faster. He made those adjustments. He still doesn't think his truck is right. He still thinks he can make it better. But that information that he's fed to the crew and the job that the crew's done listening to Kyle and relating his problems with setup changes has been really impressive.
Gap just under 0.4 of a second between Darrell Wallace Jr. and Kyle Busch. And as they close in on the slower lap traffic, that will make Darrell Wallace Jr. have to decide which line to go. He goes on the high side. You see the 8 of Max Gresham back out on the racetrack. They did quite a bit of work to get him back out on the track. CJ Faison, by the way, has been checked and released from the infield care center.
So Miguel Paludo, the 32, going another lap down. Tim George in the 5 truck is the last truck on the lead lap, and he runs right now in the 14th position.
As quickly as Kyle Busch was able to catch up to the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr., it looks like the gap has stayed about the same, and now you see the 51, yeah, with a great turn through 3 and 4 and able to close that gap on Darrell Wallace Jr. Ray.
Right around 9 or 10 more laps to go, guys, before the guys that pitted on lap 47 need to come down here to get some fuel. Many crew chiefs starting to talk to them about what they need. We're hearing lots of information on the radio. And one thing I just heard from the number 88 of Matt Crafton, he came on to tell his crew chief that the track is starting to change. We're getting a little bit of shade down in 1 and 2, so that may affect the handling and may help them make those decisions of what to do. But guys, keep in mind, Chase Elliott can stay out a bit longer.
We talked about it earlier, that the fact that 15 to 18 laps difference between what everyone else and Chase Elliott has done because of that speeding penalty that he incurred earlier on one of his pit stops. So Darrell Wallace Jr., Kyle Busch, 1 and 2, about ready for green flag stops.
Welcome back to Dover International. We are at lap 119. Kyle Busch just came down pit road. He got 4 tires and a track bar adjustment. Our leader, Bubba Wallace, leaves the racetrack. He will come down to get tires and fuel. He said he's a little bit loose on both ends. Jerry Baxter said, we'll make an adjustment for you. He brings that Camping World and Good Sam Toyota down pit road, watching his speed limit. We'll have to keep our eye on these guys. He is going to pit all by himself. He's in pit stall number 2. They'll throw Sunoco fuel in this thing and go with a 4-tire stop. The number 88 of Matt Crafton also on his way down pit road. That Menards truck, as I said, started to change just a little bit as this racetrack has gone to shade. Bubba Wallace completes his 4 tires. They get fuel in it. He'll go back to the racetrack. The number 94 of Chase Elliott will inherit the lead right now. The Menards Toyota comes to a stop here. They'll go with 4 tires for Matt Crafton. Nobody willing to take a 2-tire gamble here. They might have done that had we pitted under yellow. They'll go with 4 tires. Also, Ross Chastain down on pit road, he may have gone with 2 tires, guys.
I'll tell you what, he's lucky that he's on pit road. Ross Chastain about hit the end of pit wall. During these green flag pit stops, Phil, I'll be shocked if we don't get speeding penalties and also people almost crashing coming onto pit road. It's really difficult.
And the 62 of Brendan Gaughan has service and back onto pit road. See Ryan Blaney also making his way onto pit road now.
Yeah, this is the time right now. If the caution flag were to come out, it would really put Chase Elliott in the driver's seat. Raymond? Right down left.
Ryan Blaney said if he drives it into the corner too hard, it gets loose, but overall not bad. They're going to raise the track bar 1 round, go with 4 tires and fuel. Also see Timothy Peters coming down on pit road. The number 17 is going to get tires. You see that Cooper Standard truck? They're working hard on the right side. The 17 Parts Plus Toyota is in. He's loose into the turns, and they want 4 tires. Going to make an air pressure adjustment on the right side for Peters. Those guys came down at lap 124, Hermie.
Oh, Joey Coulter is in, Ray. He'll take 4 tires. It'll be a track bar adjustment and a slight air pressure adjustment. He is too loose, especially in the turns 3 and 4 in of this racetrack.
I'll tell you what, guys, our leader of Chase Elliott, he can't afford to stay out there much longer, Phil. He could catch a caution and be a big break, but he's running over a second a lap slower than Kyle Busch right now. Watch this. We talked about how hard this is and how lucky we'd be if we didn't see a crash. Sideways, sliding. He barely got into the pit. Watch Joey Coulter locking his truck up. It looks like he's stopped, but he's still not slow enough. We're going from 180 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour into turn 3, to 35 when we get to pit road.
Remember when we saw Matt Kenseth one time spin and actually hit the barrels at the edge of pit wall a few years ago?
Ross Chastain was very close to doing that. He was too fast entering, got a penalty. Hermie.
Herman Quiroga gives up the 3rd place position on the racetrack. He loves his truck. A little bit of trouble today with lap traffic, but overall pretty good. 4 tires, a slight air pressure adjustment, no chassis changes. Ray.
Jeff Burton said his brake bias adjustment has not done what he needs on that Arrowhead racetrack. He said he still is fighting that truck through the center, so they make an air pressure adjustment for him on his stop. He'll come to the pits here to his Turner Motorsports crew. What a season it's already been for Jeff Burton. He's had some really great runs. The last 2 races, the finishes did not equal that, with a 15th at Kansas and a 13th at Charlotte. Looking for a bit of a rebound today. They'll put 4 tires and fuel on truck number 4.
Now, if we continue to cycle through green flag stops, you might be wondering, where is Kyle Busch? Where is Darrell Wallace Jr.? Darrell Wallace Jr. was running 1 and 2 with his owner just behind him. Well, now on the racetrack, Kyle Busch is running 7th. Darrell Wallace Jr. is running 9th.
And I think that's a result of, Phil, the experience that Kyle has getting onto pit road. He probably got to pit road faster, got down to pit road speed sooner. Darrell Wallace Jr., being a rookie, had to be careful coming in there. Kyle did that job better than Darrell did.
And remember, Kyle's done it hundreds and hundreds of times, and Darrell's done it a handful of times maybe.
And the most important thing for Darrell to do during that was not make a mistake, not slide into his pit, not overshoot that entry, something that could have cost him the race. He did his job perfectly. He will learn from that stop and be better every time he comes to pit road. This cat here, though, is putting some people in a bind. A lot of folks worried a lap down right now because Chase Elliott continues to lead the race, but he's giving away precious time to the guys that were running up front earlier. Kyle Busch, Darrell Wallace Jr. Let's look at the entry and see what we see. This is the pit stop itself. Kyle's stop was about a second better. You can see on the left side there, Darrell's team was a little bit slower, but more importantly, he's 4 or 5 seconds ahead of Darrell now. A lot of that was on the entry and exit.
Great pit work by Kyle Busch's team there with a sub 15-second stop.
Fastest of any of the 4 tire stops for the truck series.
You know, the problem is for a lot of these guys right now, a lot of our good trucks are 2 laps down, not 1 lap down, because Chase hasn't come to pit road yet under green.
So the running order is Chase Elliott out in front, which we're expecting him to be on pit road here any moment. Tim George Jr., David Starr, Ron Hornaday, and Todd Bodine all up in the top 5.
Last time by, Chase Elliott ran 25.1 seconds, and Kyle Busch ran 24.82. So 0.3 of a second is all that Kyle was faster than Chase right now. And Chase is enjoying quite a big lead because of not pitting. If the caution were to fly, it would be a big advantage. But at some point, he's got to have to figure out how much of that time he wants to give away to those leaders.
You know, Kyle Busch.
This time, Chase. Fit this time. 4 tires and fuel, guys. 4 tires and fuel. Yeah, guys. coming this time, coming this time.
Let's watch closely.
Bud. Make sure it's good.
See if he's able to get slowed down. Going so fast, Phil, and have to go down to basically nothing.
Doesn't want to make a mistake here.
Ah, perfect job. Great job, Chase.
With such a truck, with such a great truck, having the speeding penalty early puts him to the back. That puts Tim George Jr. out in front of this field now.
Tim has not stopped yet. Lap 65, the same lap that Chase Elliott pitted, was the last time Tim George was on pit road.
Same strategy for Ron Hornaday, David Starr, and Todd Bodine, as well as James Busher. Ray.
Guys, it's so much fun to hang out in this pit for Chase Elliott. It's like a who's who of NASCAR racing over the years. Jim Long is doing the fuel strategy. Billy Wilburn down here, Pete Lamoureux, and of course Lance McGrew. They're overseeing this crew. They've got a good stop so far. A little bit slow on the left front. They hand him in a drink. They'll get all the fuel in there. They drop it down, and Chase will go. Lap 135, they came to pit road.
So that's 70 laps that we saw Chase Elliott go.
Same amount of laps Kyle Busch went earlier. So
and Kyle pitted on lap number 117. That means there's that was 83 from the end. So that may be stretching it on being able to make it on fuel.
And the 94 has been called for too fast exiting again.
Obviously, there's some miscommunication there on how Chase can exit the pit between he and the team. He thinks he's clear to go once he leaves his pit.
Pass through. Come this time, Bud. Come this time.
I don't think you can really hang that on the rookie. You just got to be clear as exactly what you're supposed to do, and it just appears that he doesn't know what he's supposed to do.
Such a fast truck, such a good day it was looking to be for Chase Elliott.
And don't compound it by doing it again.
Pit road speed is from yellow line to yellow line, like you said, Phil. And the last yellow line is well past the end of the pit stall.
I'll take the hit for the first one. I ain't taking the hit for the second one.
Well, they're all going to pay the price right here, the entire team.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. Again, still a couple trucks, 3 trucks that have stayed out. Tim George Jr., David Starr, and James Busher, all hoping for a caution.
Sorry, dig.
It's not coming out, and so they will have to be coming to pit road shortly. Tim George Jr., David Starr, Kyle Busch now running 3rd, James Busher in 4th.
Doc. Goose.
Our technology builds some of the best tires in the world, because when it comes to performance, we don't just play around.
Cheater, we said no 360s.
Who's up for some leapfrog?
Extra mile as we take our AT&T race break with just 55 laps to go. Early in this one, lap number 2, Timothy Peters, Max Gresham. Incident coming out of 3 and 4.
John West Townley got a piece of that in the 7 truck. He's rebounded well, though.
Issues for the 3 of Ty Dillon.
Ty
comes on to pit road.
Reported they had engine trouble with the 3 truck. Rarely do you see anything go wrong with the 3 truck engine problems.
The first of 2 speeding penalties for Chase Elliott. He successfully overcame the first one. It happened under caution, but not the second one.
Chase Elliott with such a good truck now has to fight through traffic again and hope for a caution to get that free pass as he is a lap down. Kyle Busch out in front of Darrell Wallace Jr. by 4 seconds. Sunday, after the showdown on the Monster Mile, turn to speed for the ultimate post-race coverage. Celebrate with the winner. NASCAR Victory Lane, live from Dover Sunday, right after the race and only on Speed.
Right after the race, those boys take you inside of what happened during the race on Sunday. Look at the battle for second. Here comes Crafton.
Crafton moves to the inside. Darrell Wallace Jr. up high on the racetrack. Now Crafton will try to reel in that 51 of Kyle Busch. Differing strategies as far as fuel. Kyle Busch will have to go 83 laps. Matt Crafton 79 laps. Darrell Wallace Jr. 80 laps on their fuel.
I'm telling you, 83 I believe is stretching it for Kyle Busch, but he only ran 70 laps from his previous pit stop to the last pit stop. And that for him to be able to go another 13 laps after more than that?
You know, when Kyle pushes his truck, he said it's loose off. We've seen him, so he let Armand Quiroga go there. When I say loose off, let me show you what that means. Okay.
That's loose off.
That's as loose off as you want to be, and he's leading the race, remember? So if you're going to save some gas, my truck's loose off, maybe I just start pedaling a little bit, try to put some laps in the bank for my team, and get myself within a window of making it to the end.
He's lost about half his lead here in the last 10 laps or so. He had about a 5-second lead right after all the rest of the lead lap trucks came on the pit road. Now he's down to about 2.5 seconds now.
Quiroga drove around him there. That was to get back from the lead lap. So it makes you wonder if maybe, Ray, that Kyle's not pacing himself a little bit right now.
No, Michael, he is, and that's exactly what they told him, is you've got to give some of that lead back. They're calculating that he's about 4 laps short, which is only 4 miles, but if they drop back just a little bit and ease off that throttle a couple of times, it may get him in that window. They're hoping for a caution, obviously, down here, but if it goes green, it's going to be very, very close.
And we're talking about a gallon of gas. They get about 4.5 miles to the gallon. We're talking 1 gallon of gas, $3, $3.50 or whatever it is, to win this race.
And you remember in the opening when Ray explained all the troubles that Kyle Busch has had closing the deal here at Dover. Back in 11, his last race here.
And there's the caution. We're hearing debris on the backstretch.
That'll bring all the leaders to pit road, and everything we just said doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter anymore at all. Everyone's going to get in their window, and then we'll have a race to the end.
I like it. Let's line these babies up and see who's the fastest. We got 9 guys on the lead lap, plus John West Townley, it looks like, will get the free pass back onto the lead lap.
Johnny Sauter will miss that free pass by 1 spot.
So
it's a snake over there, I think.
Yeah, debris on the backstretch has brought the caution out.
It was scary.
Just the 4th caution of this race. Kyle Busch, Matt Crafton, Darrell Wallace Jr., your top 3. Ryan Blaney, Timothy Peters. Amazingly enough, after spinning on turn number 2 on the 2nd lap, he ends up in the top 5.
Peters is good, and his team did a great job of managing what damage they had early in the race, and he's been solid all day long. There's that right front fender you can see all bent up. There's the truck that he crashed with, Max Gresham, right in front of him there. But you can see the right front fender is still out. These trucks depend heavily on that front downforce, and so when it was bent, it didn't clobber it in, so he still has that downforce with that front end. So great break there and great job by the team.
And the splitter was up too, so they had to beat the splitter down. They really did a great job getting that truck repaired.
Pit road is open, and Kyle Busch will lead the field onto pit road. Hermie.
Well, Rick, the 62 of Brendan Gaughan comes into Dover on quite a roll. 3 consecutive top 5 finishes. Truck's been a little bit tight in the center of the corner. A 4-tire change, Sunoco fuel, and a little bit of air pressure adjustment for the 62.
Ray, 2 rounds of wedge will go in for Kyle Busch. Also a ½ pound in the right rear. He said that he wants to get a little bit better through the center. You see in the middle of your picture, that is Matt Crafton. He said, I need to have a little bit of help on the short run. I can work on this truck on the long run. They get 4 tires and gas for Kyle Busch. He is down and away, headed towards the end of pit road. Kyle going, we see the 88 finishing up their work down there, and it appears that that's going to be a close battle. Here comes Crafton. Looks like the 88 may win that battle.
Got to be careful. We saw Chase Elliott busted for speeding twice in the last segment. You see the yellow line right here. That's the last speed line. You have to be within the speed limit till you get to that line.
Look how good these crews are. Matt picked up 1 spot, Kyle lost 1, but everybody else held serve. When you're racing inside the top 10, look how close it is too. When you're racing inside the top 10, those teams are as good as they get, and it's hard to gain any spots. So great job by Crafton's crew. Look at that. That's the emotion you're looking for.
Celebration. They want to celebrate once again and get back to victory lane.
Baby powder?
Hand lotion. Nothing stopped the rash from my bladder leakage. Until now.
New Balmex Adult Care has ActiveGuard with ingredients to soothe, protect, and relieve irritation.
The search is over. It works great.
New Balmex Adult Care. Finally adult rash relief.
What are you doing?
It not fit. Now it fit.
Moving is hard. Moving our Optimum service is easy. Keep your email and phone number. Pick the day and time that works for you. Get free installation in our special movers offer. Go to Optimum.com/movers offer.
7 laps when the green flag comes back out at Dover International Speedway.
Most of these guys grew up racing 30-lap feature races for the big win. We got 10 of them in the top 10 now that are at Dover with 30 to go, racing for a win.
Crafton chooses the outside line. Kyle Busch on the inside. Darrell Wallace Jr. Ryan Blaney, Timothy Peters, your top 5. Green flag back in the air.
Great start by Matt Crafton. He rolled up off turn 4, and rolled out on Kyle Busch.
Kyle's going to fight back now on the inside. Ooh, Matt takes that bottom groove away.
Took most of it away, didn't he, Phil? He cut down there and was able to hold Kyle off. Great job by Matt Crafton getting the start there.
Huge break for a lot of guys. We had 11 trucks take the wave around. Ooh, we got a
smoker back here.
Maybe some debris as well.
No caution as of this point. Crafton able to get back by.
And Matt Crafton said, no caution, please. It's so hard to beat Kyle Busch at anything. I did a perfect job on the start. Let's just run green to the finish. I think I can beat these boys.
We stay green.
See Joey Coulter, the 18, Jeb Burton, the 4, side by side. That is a battle inside the top 10. There's Herman Quiroga. He's going to join that battle.
It was 10 of Jennifer Jo Cobb that we saw the smoke coming out of the back, and she's brought her truck onto pit road now.
Jeb went way high down there to open up the bottom for Joey Coulter, who was able to make that pass on Jeb.
That was for the 6th spot.
Matt Crafton, Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, Darrell Wallace Jr., Timothy Peters, your top 5. Brendan Gaughan just outside 5 in the 6th spot. Joey Coulter, Herman Quiroga, Jeb Burton, and John West Townley, your top 10.
Look at Quiroga getting on the inside of Burton, bringing Hornaday along with him. Hornaday's a lap down, but he is the first truck 1 down. Racing hard there.
He needs a caution flag right now or sometime soon, as long as he's that first truck.
It's been a battle for Hornaday today. Not good early, but he's gotten himself in a position to make things right at the end if he could just catch a caution.
Hey, what a statement this would be for Matt Crafton to come out here and beat Kyle Busch head to head. Matt Crafton's got the victory lane in this series, but to come here and beat Kyle Busch head to head would be major.
And right now, Kyle Busch running a little bit higher line, trying to keep that momentum up.
And you just have to watch Kyle. He's going to start working that line. His truck isn't handling exactly like he wants it today, so he's moving around, and he's going to make that high line work. We saw Matt Crafton before when he won at Iowa. He had to move around and take away Austin Dillon's line. Here, if he does that, maybe he can hold off Kyle, but Kyle got to the top, and that made Matt loose down on the bottom.
What a run through the center of the corner.
A little bit of a bobble by the 88 of Matt Crafton. Kyle Busch back out in front at Dover.
Here comes Ryan Blaney in the 3rd spot. He's shown a lot of strength. He's been in the top 5 just about the entire race. He's looking really strong right now.
Top 3 trucks have separated themselves. Darrell Wallace Jr. back there in the 4th spot. Crafton losing the top spot to Kyle Busch. Blaney running in the 3rd position. Kyle Busch has been to victory lane twice before at Dover. Most recently was back in 2011.
Remember, he broke that huge slump a couple of weeks ago at Charlotte. About a year and a half, right?
7-race losing streak.
Sounded better when it was a year and a half. What about Ryan Blaney? They talked down in the garage area. The 2 trucks that you'd have to beat were Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney. They're running 1st and 3rd. We talked to Matt Crafton. They said they changed everything about their truck, so you got to throw him out. He brought a different horse to the race. So if you listen to the guys in the garage area, they got a pretty good grasp on who's good and who isn't.
Timothy Peters looking very strong now as he was looking to the inside of Darrell Wallace Jr.
That's a battle for 4th. Look at Peters right down on the bottom. Wallace up the hill a bit.
Darrell's lost a little bit of his strength he had early on in this race. Nobody could run with Bubba. His truck's a little bit off right now.
Darrell Wallace Jr. still searching for that grip, as Michael has talked about, running the higher line, trying to stay in front of that 17.
Timothy Peters has never had a top 5 finish here at Dover. Going after the 4th spot right now on Bubba Wallace.
That's a hard row to hoe down there on the bottom. Being able to pinch that truck off, coming off the corners, it's really difficult. You like to be able to clear them through the center, so you've got that angle off the turn. Peters is going to make it off turn 2 and make that pass.
Nice job by Timothy.
That's how you make a pass at Dover.
Closing in on the final 25 laps from the Monster Mile. Timothy Peters has moved ahead of Darrell Wallace Jr. now to take the 4th spot away.
Kyle Busch, Matt Crafton, Ryan Blaney, your top three. Kyle has a 7/10 of a second lead over Matt Crafton, but still a lot of laps to go. 25 laps from Dover. Just 20 laps to go, and the caution has come out once again.
Oh, the plot thickens. What are we going to do? There's tires in the pit. We're going to get them.
How beneficial would new tires be with 20 to go?
We know there's a lot of people that'll come to pit road, the ones that took the wave around. They've got nothing to lose.
There's the debris on the racetrack on the front stretch. I don't think Kyle Busch, those guys running up in the top 5, I think they stay out. Kyle Busch ran within 0.2 of a second of his fastest lap about 4 or 5 laps ago.
There's a lot of decisions. Strategy always seems to play a role here at Dover, and these guys, these pit crews, chiefs, are going to have to make some decisions here that could get them a win. Matt Crafton had began to beat Kyle Busch a little bit those last few laps, so he knows he has a truck capable of winning. What do you do, Phil?
I think we stay out. I think we stay out. It's only been 20 laps since we're on pit road. Put tires on.
It's like Kyle's making a statement. I'm out. I'm staying out.
How many will come down pit road?
Bubba Wallace is coming. Now, obviously, Bubba's lost a little bit. I think it's a great call. Come down pit road, try to make that truck better, make something happen.
He's got to feel like
the rubber in. Put the rubber in the left rear, guys. We got time. We're last car lead lap. Well, we will be.
That's Jerry Baxter talking about making an adjustment that will tighten up that truck for Bubba Wallace. Ray, what are they going to do? They're going to put that rubber in, I guess. They said that.
Absolutely, Mikey. And this was one of those situations where you're not good enough to win, and they were earlier. So Bubba said, we got to do something with this thing. Jerry said, there's tires sitting here. Let's go for it. So they'll come down. Why not put 4 on? It's under caution. Make your adjustment. Hang that rubber in there. Get back out there and see if you've got a shot to move forward. There's enough laps left, isn't there, guys?
I think there is. I think it's a great strategy call. Now, will that be enough for him to get up there to challenge Kyle Busch for the win? I don't think so, but he's probably going to have a better shot at it than he would have. There's Chase Elliott also going to come down pit road, Ray.
Yeah, and Phil, they just wanted to put some fuel in that thing to affect his balance a little bit. Chase talking about being really loose, especially whenever he's on his own. But it's been a learning day, a good learning experience, I guess, for Chase is the best way to put it. 2 speeding penalties today here at Dover.
This caution flag worked out for all the wave-arounds. We had a bunch of wave-arounds. Every one of them stayed on the racetrack, and it worked.
14 on the lead lap. Will get a free pass to make it 15 on the lead lap. Is new tires in the 10 to 15 range. Is it going to be enough to catch guys on the older tires?
They're going to catch some. They're not going to catch them all.
Exactly.
The leaders, the top 5, Bubba was the first one to pit, and he pitted from 5th. Those front 4 got some cushion behind them. Guys that were 6th, 7th, 8th, they all stayed out on the racetrack. So if more trucks had followed Bubba to pit road, I think Bubba had a shot to maybe go up there and win the thing, but they didn't. They all stayed out, so that's going to hurt. Most of them stayed out. Some of them did pit.
So again, the final laps here from Dover winding down as we're looking forward to next Friday. Tempers always flare because even Texas isn't big enough for these truck drivers. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live next Friday. That's at 8:30 Eastern, right here on Speed.
That guy there can get it done at Texas, huh? Didn't he win 4 or 5 in a row down there?
4 in a row.
Yeah. Wasn't that 9 years and 7 months ago? Thereabout?
It was right at it.
Some of those.
But he's proven this year he's back to race for a championship. That strong 2nd place run for Brendan at Charlotte last week. 3 top 5s in a row for that team, and he's sitting in the top 5 again this week. So strong truck. He could win this championship in 2013.
Coming into this race, he was 4th in the point standings, 31 points back.
Right now, our top 8 trucks stayed on the racetrack. Bubba Wallace in 9th is the first truck that came down pit road to get tires on this caution flag.
So we'll see how beneficial those new tires are for the 54 team.
This is good stuff. The sprint to the finish. We saw Matt Crafton do a nice job of getting the lead on Kyle Busch on that last restart. Let's see if he can do it again. And right there on row 2, you got Ryan Blaney. He's been strong all day long, along with Timothy Peters. And then there's Brendan in the top 5. Coulter's adjusted that truck. Great job by that team.
Jeb Burton also back there in the 4th row, along with Herman Quiroga. Then we have Bubba Wallace, John West Townley, both guys that came to pit road on this recent caution flag.
Watch for Bubba and watch for John West to take them 3 wide down into turn 1. They've got to make some moves quickly. Only 17 to go. And I believe Bubba's got the truck with those tires to get up toward the top 5. A late caution, who knows? Maybe he's still got a shot to win this thing.
16 laps. Have we seen our last caution?
Probably not. Things are heating up. We've turned up the heat.
Turned up the wick a little bit here.
Yeah, the wick, and thus heated things up.
When they come back to the flag stand, it will be 16 laps to go. Your race leader is Kyle Busch. He chose the outside line. Matt Crafton on the inside. Timothy Peters, Ryan Blaney making up row number 2. Coming out of turn number 4. Who will have the best restart? Green flag back in the air.
It's hard to beat Kyle Busch on restarts, especially when he's in charge.
A great restart for the 51, but the 88 of Matt Crafton staying right there.
Bubba Wallace is hung up on the outside, or Herman Quiroga gets sideways and into the wall.
And that gave Bubba the opening he needed.
Up the racetrack goes the 17 of Timothy Peters, running a little bit higher line. Now looking to the inside, that 29 of Ryan Blaney.
It's a battle for the 3rd spot. And Bubba Wallace just drives around Jeb Burton and right up on the back of Brendan Gaughan. He's racing for a spot just outside the top 5 already.
At 54, fresh tires. Trying to utilize the fresher tires to get by the 62 of Brendan Gaughan. Here comes Jeb Burton in the 4, making the move to the inside.
Bubba got a little bit sideways there. Look at Chase Elliott making it 3 wide for a moment.
Working their way through 1 and 2. Still out in front. Kyle Busch. Matt Crafton runs second. He's 0.7 of a second back.
Great run off turn 2 there by Bubba. He's going to look to the inside of Brendan.
Brendan Gaughan back up to the high side here at Dover.
We heard Baxter talking about tightening up the 54 truck of Bubba Wallace. To me, Phil, it looks like he's a little too tight now. Just can't turn the truck and keep it down on the bottom.
Meanwhile, right now, Kyle Busch is running his fastest laps of the entire race.
It's go time. We talked about turning up the wick, and look at what Kyle's done. He's driven away from Matt Crafton.
Battle for the 11th spot. Tim George Jr. on the inside. John West Townley in the 7 on the outside.
Good pass by Tim George Jr. He's got that Applebee's truck up into the top 10. Involved in a crash on lap 2, now in the top 10 late in the going.
Just outside the top 10, Johnny Sauter right now has that 10th spot as Chase Elliott gets by the 4 of Jeb Burton for the 8th spot.
There's passing everywhere.
Making the moves late in this race. Less than 12 laps to go. Kyle Busch looking to make it 3 wins at Dover.
The 32 of Miguel Paludo is down a lap.
We got a smoker. That's George Jr.
George Jr. looks like he has an engine issue. Slower on the racetrack, trying to come down, and there's Herman Quiroga down there. Smoke coming out of the 5.
Yeah, a lot of smoke coming out of that 5.
He didn't get in the wall, did he? That must be from under the hood. It doesn't look like there's any damage on that right side.
David Starr moves to the inside. The 81.
He did hit the wall.
He did get in the outside wall. That's where the smoke's coming from.
That tire will blow out too, and we'll have another caution. It isn't gonna, it's definitely not. I don't think it lasts till the end of this race.
Smoke still inside.
I call it a lot of smoke. It may look like a little bit of smoke up top.
Looks like he's going to bring that truck to pit
trying
road.
to get down.
There it is.
Hard time doing it. And up into the wall goes the 5.
There it is. Caution.
And the caution comes out inside of 10 laps to go.
Yeah, we knew that it was just a matter of time before that tire went down. Now it really compounded the damage for Tim George. You know, I didn't really see Bubba Wallace the advancement that I thought I would see with those new tires.
I think that truck got tight with him on this run. Look right there how late off the turn George is when he makes contact with the wall. He was almost going straight, and he just gave up, didn't come off the gas and got in the outside wall. See, he's a little bit high there exiting, and bam. And that took away a run that saw him wreck on lap 2 and race all the way up to the 11th spot, have a chance to win for a solid top 10 finish.
There went the right front and up into the wall. The 5 goes, bringing out the caution.
Really fortunate for Todd Bodine. He was right behind Tim when that tire went down.
It's also fortunate, it looks like, for David Starr. I think he might get the free pass and back onto the lead lap. So David's.
Watch this now.
Wow. He sensed there was a problem. He said, maybe I better give him some space.
You're all clear. You dig it.
Had Todd just dove in the corner like normal, he'd have been crashed with Tim George Jr.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the outside of a truck that has a tire rub.
So they go to work getting the 5 off of the racetrack. Tim George Jr. bringing out our most recent caution. Monday on the Hub, we recap the mayhem from the Monster Mile. Plus, get an exclusive insider's look at the race through the winner's eyes. NASCAR Race Up Monday at 6 Eastern, only on Speed. So Tim George Jr. in the 5 gets into the wall. The right front tire goes down. He gets his truck towed back to the infield.
And we're going to see another restart and see if Matt Crafton can do anything with Kyle Busch on the start, because it looks like that's the only way he's going to win this race. If he can just somehow get a nose ahead of him down into turn 1 and see if he can do anything with him on that first lap, because Kyle checked out after this last start.
But Kyle's truck is so good on the outside. He's going to choose the outside again. Even if Matt could stay even with him, get a fender ahead of him, getting in 1, Kyle just runs the high side so quickly through 1 and 2.
Ray Dunlap.
Guys, KBM, Kyle Busch Motorsports, has 19 wins in this series. But what's really been amazing is to watch how many different trucks they've used to get those wins. The truck that Kyle is driving today is chassis 09. It's making its 10th start. And this particular truck has yet to go to victory lane. And I can't believe how quiet Kyle has been on the radio. Nothing said in the last 15 laps.
You know, Ray, one of the things that Kyle's probably remembering is he's been passed here twice for the win.
Yeah, and we talked about the problems he's had. A fuel pickup problem. The hood pins came out, a flat tire. So anything can happen, and he knows that. But you got to give Kyle a lot of credit. He worked hard on that truck with his team early in the going. It wasn't exactly right. Now they've got it tuned in. But I love Matt Crafton. His team the same way. His truck was not good yesterday. They've got it tuned up today, and he's going to have a real shot at winning this race.
4 laps. It will be a shootout.
This is like a trophy dash back in your short track days.
4-lap dash.
Let's do it.
Kyle Busch on the outside. Matt Crafton on the inside. Timothy Peters, Ryan Blaney making up row number 2. Field 2 by 2 coming out of turn number 4. Green flag back in the air. A great restart by Kyle Busch. Crafton blocking on the bottom of the racetrack. Blaney with the big move on the high side. Moves up to second, trying to take that spot away from Crafton.
Crafton's fighting back on the inside. Brendan Gaughan's following Ryan Blaney up on the high side.
Look at Chase. Look at Chase Elliott. He's down on the inside. He's coming to 4th. Man, what a day that kid's had.
Chase Elliott has made his way into the top 5, running in the 4th spot, now just in front of the 62 of Gaughan.
Chase may have a chance of bettering that 4th place spot here. We see Kyle Busch right now. Gaughan
checking out on Matt Crafton running second. Ryan Blaney all over the back bumper of that 88. And here comes Chase Elliott battling for the 3rd spot.
What about Crafton? He dug in hard on that bottom and was able to get back around Ryan Blaney after a restart that he didn't execute as well as he should have, but he made up for it to get that spot back.
I thought Ryan Blaney had that advantage on the high side. He was following Kyle Busch, and Matt, as you mentioned, fought back and got the spot back.
Kyle Busch checking out on Matt Crafton and the field as he works his way through 3 and 4. This time by. White flag will go in the air. Kyle Busch a lap away.
How about the 98 of Johnny Sauter with all the troubles he's had right now, running in the 7th spot.
A great recovery for the 94 of Chase Elliott as well as he runs in the 4th position.
Dover's all about some perseverance, isn't it? We've seen a lot of teams work really hard, working on their trucks, making adjustments, and it's going to pay off for this man.
Kyle Busch looking to go back to back. He wins in Charlotte. He comes to Dover and takes the checkered flag here as well. Crafton coming home in 2nd. Blaney, Chase Elliott to 4th. Brendan Gaughan, another top 5 finish.
Good job, everybody. Thanks again, Tony, for all your help.
Rick Wren talking to the team. And let's hear from the winning crew chief standing by with Ray Dunlap.
Well, we had 3 weeks in a row where a crew chief got his first career win, but this guy gets to go back to back, and you guys worked hard for that win today.
Yeah, our teammate had the best truck today. Daryl had the best truck, and we just fought hard. We weren't really good yesterday either. We had to keep working on it and made it better, and whew, he's the best. It was fun. So just got to thank everybody at KBM. So it was fun. Thank you.
Second win for Rudy Fugle as crew chief. Third for Kyle Busch right here at Dover.
Guys, it's May, and Kyle Busch has 10 wins this year. The Cup Series, Truck Series, and the Nationwide Series.
Kyle Busch trying to celebrate, and Truck's trying to go by.
He's not going to let that ruin his celebration.
And Kyle Busch will end this celebration, at least the burnout, by climbing out of his truck and taking a bow.
Check out all the folks down there, the fans lined up to watch him do this burnout. Great camera work there by our speed team. That's awesome.
A lot of fans down there taking some pictures, some mementos of this occasion. Kyle Busch back in victory lane.
You know, Phil, back in the day, if you saw smoke around a truck, it never was in victory lane. Now when you win a race, you burn the tires off of it and celebrate, and the fans really love it.
And here he goes. And he gets out of the truck to cheers. A lot of times he's had the boos that have followed him around, but they're appreciating the talent of Kyle Busch.
That's exactly right. There's more cheers than boos these days. He's getting her done. Another kid that got it done was Ryan Blaney. We talked about how strong that truck was. Great finish, third place for Ryan.
Let's hear from him. He's with Herming.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney got it. Had to work with Matt Crafton. Good, solid day, but I want to talk about that last restart. You in the 88, some great racing right there.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like Kyle got a really good restart and kind of got ahead of him a little bit, and I just wasn't quite clear going into 3. It just quite really wasn't there, and you know he's running for a championship, and we're both are, and I don't want to do anything stupid to jeopardize that. So good run by our Cooper Standard Ford, and I think there's a great momentum for Texas.
That's Ryan Blaney. He comes home third. Matt Crafton, while I got you, this team continues to impress. Another solid run. Congratulations, second place.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, great day for the whole Thor Sport organization. On our Toyota Tundra, it was decent on a short run. We showed our strength on the long runs, but Kyle just had the speed on the short run. We kind of would bounce on the splitter a little bit at the beginning of a run, but all in all, not a terrible day. I mean, we did get beat by one of the guys, not too bad here. Like I said, I just wish we could have ran a long run. So on a long run right there, I could actually start running him back down, but I can't thank these guys enough. They did it again they did it at Kansas, and they did it here. I mean, they changed everything under the moon. I mean, I don't think we need to practice anymore. We're just going to go to the race.
That's Matt Crafton. He comes home second.
So Crafton gets second. And it's Kyle Busch once again who will be celebrating in victory lane. That's his 32nd Camping World Truck Series win in just his 108th start. He's closing in on 30% as far as his winning percentage. Welcome back. The 51 has made its way into victory lane. Let's go there now with Ray Dunlap.
Here comes Kyle Busch. He will jump out of that truck, and he has now led 761 laps in the Camping World Truck Series at Dover. Picks up his third win, and these guys worked hard for it today. Lots of adjustments on this truck, Kyle. Wasn't perfect at the beginning, but it sure looked good at the end.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we're thinking about our friend Ed Laukus, who's in the hospital this week. So, you know, we just wanted to first and foremost say our thoughts are with you, Ed. We hope you get out soon, and we appreciate the support of all the Toyota folks. You know, the Toyota Care Tundra today was awesome, and there were a lot of adjustments that did have to happen throughout the race to make it keep up with the racetrack. It definitely got freer the more we went there, but all in all, can't say enough. You know, all metal fabricators, we appreciate them. Flexco, Joe Gibbs Racing Engines, and of course, Monster Energy Camping World. And we appreciate their support on Daryl's truck. I know Daryl got back to third. Man, what a talent and what a great job he did this weekend. So really proud of Daryl Wallace. And you know, appreciate the fans too. This is fun for us, but also you know, this is a building thing for Kyle Busch Motorsports.
It is very hot here this weekend, Kyle. You had cup practice today. You had nationwide. You had truck race. It's going to be a long weekend. You're the only guy that's ever won all three. Can you do it again this weekend?
I think we can. I'm the only one dumb enough to try. That's the problem. But I think we can. You know, I think we got a really good not M&M's Camry, but a Monster Camry for tomorrow. M&M's Camry for Sunday. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be a long one. Anything can happen here at Dover. It's the Monster. So you know, this is just the start of the weekend, though, and this is just the start of Samantha's birthday weekend, so happy birthday to my wife Samantha tomorrow. Hopefully I'm giving her another birthday present here in Victory Lane.
You found a lot of ways to lose them here, but now it appears you've got this Monster Mile pretty dialed in Truck Series.
Yeah, just don't lead all the laps early, I guess. Just sneak up on them a little bit. You know, we started in I wouldn't say the back, but we started 5th, and you know, I was behind most of those guys throughout the first portion of the race. And I was just trying to plug my way at them, and man, these things were just so evil out there behind other trucks. You know, I'd get really aero loose, and I had to move around and start searching. And fortunately, I had some of that in this truck that I could do that and find another group that made it fast.
All right, Kyle Busch on a roll. He has been knocking them down in the Nationwide Series, gets a back-to-back wins right here in the Camping World Trucks.
And celebration with wife Samantha coming into victory lane. Take a look at our ace most helpful pit crew early in the race. This is a great stop.
Yeah, he did this job getting the truck to pit road perfectly, but that team, they performed. What a great 4-tire stop. We saw it was sub 15 seconds. You don't see many of those in the Truck Series, and when it counted, they delivered.
Remember, he was not leading the race when they started making green flag pit stops, and he emerged with about a 5-second lead. So that's how much better he and the team were on that pit stop than the rest of the competitors.
Talked about how hard it is to pass. His team gave him a big assist there.
Able to make quite a few passes on pit road and celebrates once again.
June 15th, for one unforgettable night, Monster Jam's best blaze a path of power into MetLife Stadium. The Advanced Auto Parts Monster Jam, Path of Destruction, brought to you by White Castle, newly crowned 11-time World Finals champion. Max D, driven by Tom Metz, puts it all on the line with an attempt of the incredible double backflip, plus Iron Man, Mohawk Warrior, Advanced Auto Parts Grinder, Team Hot Wheels, Monster Mutt Dalmatian, World Champions Medusa, Gravedigger the Legend, El Toro Loco, and Gravedigger. And don't miss the MetLife Stadium debuts of Zombie, Scooby-Doo, and El Diablo. Kid seats are still just $15, so get your tickets now at MonsterJam.com. The biggest stars, one giant night. The Advanced Auto Parts Monster Jam, Path of Destruction. June 15th is your date with destruction at MetLife Stadium.
Our Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Lucas Oil, the world leader in high-performance lubricants and problem-solving additives for everyday cars and trucks. By Camping World, America's largest retailer of RVs, parts, accessories, and service. Visit campingworld.com today. And by Aleve, 2 pills, all day strong, all day long. Victory Lane celebration will continue for the 51 team and Kyle Busch. That is Kyle Busch Motorsports' 20th win.
And what a
World Truck Series.
What a team effort it was, too. They had to work on that truck all day long. Great pit stops.
Impressive. Our guts and glory Ram moment as far as what happened with Chase Elliott today.
A couple speeding penalties on pit road. Had one under caution. Won the race off pit road and then was busted because he was too fast in the last segment. But a fast truck.
Yeah, he took the wave around, made a lap up, raced his way up into the top 5, got 4th position on the last lap. So what a great job for Chase, a young man who knew better than to give up. He just kept fighting all day long despite all those problems.
Right after he climbed out of the truck, Hermie Sadler talked to him.
Well, Chase Elliott, you end up 4th, but that doesn't begin to tell the story of your day. If they give the award for passing the most trucks, you got that definitely. But talk about your day, the ups and the downs, and what you take from your 4th place finish today.
I don't speed on pit road, and I learned it the hard way, that's for sure. I just can't thank everybody enough. Aaron's, HendrickCars.com, Chevrolet, Pepsi Max, everybody that supports our race team, and Mr. Hendrick for the opportunity, and just, man, they gave me an awesome truck, and I'm sure y'all can see it on TV. We were really fast all day long. We're just kind of riding that first run. I messed up coming out of the pits on the first stop, and I did again when we took the green flag stop, and you just can't afford to do that, and I learned it the hard way. I know I'm tired of Kyle Busch winning as everybody else is, and I want to be the first one to stop that. So we're capable of doing it. We just got to make things go our way and me go mistake-free.
What have you talked to with your crew chief and other people about the issues on pit road? What was the issue, and how will you prevent it next time?
It was me, 100%. I screwed up, and I'm here to take the blame for it. I messed up, and, you know, I'd like to say we'd have been battling for a win if we had been in the right position if I hadn't messed up. So, you know, we're going to move on to Iowa here in a couple weeks, and hopefully we'll be able to, you know, grab a win there.
That's Chase Elliott. He comes on with a solid top 5.
Thanks, Remy. Shake and Bake is the popular blog from Fox Sports. Get the latest buzz and go beyond the nuts and bolts of the garage area. For an entertaining and humorous look at your favorite drivers and the most outrageous stories in NASCAR, check out foxsports.com/shake and bake.
It's a little shake and then a little bake.
Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, for the 3rd or 4th time, I have to do an interview with Bubba Wallace where I say, great run today, but you didn't get the results you wanted. What happened to your race truck at the end? I know I heard you for a long time saying it was loose.
Oh, man, it was, we had a good first half of the race, ended up leading 120 laps, I believe. You know, our Camping World Good Sam Toyota Tundra was stout at the beginning. And then right as we put on new tires at green flag stop, all the truck rubber just made it free. And I was trying to hang on, salvage. I think we fell back to 3rd or so, and we came in and put in a spring rubber in the left rear. Coming in next time, they're all out of it. So I was just fighting and hanging on, and we were just that close to run a little bit better. But that just shows again how much closer we are and how good our team is. And I can't be more proud of the guys back at the shop and even here. You know, Jerry worked his tail off. We were way free in practice yesterday. Ended up a little bit less free here, but we'll get there.
On the big picture, we're at race 6. You pretty happy with the progress so far?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm always happy with my Coke here, and I can't thank Coca-Cola, Good Sam, Camping World, Oakley, and I'm happy. We're bouncing back. Definitely a hard hit last race, and we'll get us to Texas.
All right, that is Bubba Wallace. Had the pole today and ends up coming home in 10th place, guys.
But just as Ray had mentioned, a very impressive performance out of Bubba Wallace after winning the pole, the youngest pole winner ever. His team owner ends up in victory lane here at Dover International Speedway. And welcome back to the Monster Mile as the sun's setting here. We want to hear from Brendan Gaughan after a very good run. He was with Hermie.
Brendan, you hit several top 5s in a row, but it's racetracks. You can use a top side. This is supposed to be a bottom feeder racetrack. Another solid top 5. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. The South Point Chevy was a little too loose all day, and I actually couldn't run the top side. That's what killed me. Normally Dover does. You've raced here. I mean, normally we get up there. I could not get up there. I saw Jeb Burton doing it, people making it work, but our South Point Chevy was just too loose. But thanks to Richard Childress, the joint APS guys were here, the Alliance Motor Coach guys, you know, thank you for everything. And top 5 on a bad day, we'll take it.
Talk about the evolution of this race team. Obviously, you've made some gains consistently in the top 5. Where do you need to work it on your program? Headed to one of your favorite racetracks next week to maybe take that next step and get back to victory lane.
You know, that's why Shane Wilson is so good, because I turn his stuff left. I drive the hell out of it for him, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. I'm a team player. My boys are great on pit road, and we've got all the ingredients. We just got to find that last little bit. Kyle's in his own zip code. I want to beat Kyle. I want him there when we win, because it'll mean so much more.
That's Brendan Gaughan's solid effort, a lot of consistency, and headed again to Texas next week, a racetrack he's won 4 times.
And thanks, Hermie. So many times we've heard drivers talk about, I want Kyle Busch to be in the field when I'm racing, because they want to be able to beat the best. And right now, Kyle Busch is the best, if it is not just in the Camping World Truck Series, but also the Nationwide Series. He is winning every race he gets out there.
Yeah, he's going to have a chance to do the sweep. No one's ever won all 3 races in one weekend other than Kyle Busch. And so he talked about that maybe it questions his judgment of using all of his ability to race all weekend. I love it, though. I want to see that sweep. I want to see if he can accomplish that, because that's something you rarely see. He has been so amazing in the trucks and in the Nationwide. He gets up to Cup, and that's a whole nother story. But last week in Charlotte,
remember, he broke that huge slump he had.
He was so fast down there. He had that pit road problem, was able to overcome that and get his way into victory lane.
Today didn't have those issues, was able to get back to victory lane. We talk a lot about Kyle Busch, but what about his driver, Darrell Wallace Jr., and how strong he was today?
Well, the first half of the race, it was all Darrell Wallace Jr. He opened up a several-second lead. Kyle Busch was back there fighting a loose race truck there and had to make some changes on it, but Darrell Wallace Jr. really did a great job. His truck got a little bit loose. They made an adjustment, but after the race, he told us that the adjustment they made, which was a spring rubber in the left rear, fell out, so they didn't really get it in well enough, and that's why his truck wasn't as good at the end. He salvaged a top 10 finish, a great finish for Bubba Wallace. I tell you, I'm not sure that first win's not coming for him pretty soon.
And the same with Jeb Burton. He struggled with that truck. He was sideways, but he persevered. He made his way through it, got a top 10 finish. What about Chase Elliott? Races his way right to the front. And Ryan Blaney, another young man that I was very impressed with today, because he had a truck he liked yesterday, but the track has gone through a lot since yesterday's practice. There was cup practice this morning. It rubbered up. The heat was intense. So despite all those factors, he was able to push his truck to a top 5 finish. That was a good accomplishment.
Remember, the average age of the top 4 qualifiers was 19. 2 of those finished in the top 5.
And now let's go back to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. We heard Brendan Gaughan say he'd really like to beat Kyle Busch. Well, that's not going to happen next weekend because the Sprint Cup Series is at Pocono. Kyle will be there and not at Texas. So the big question became, who will drive the 51? Well, next week we'll have Chad Hockenbraw driving. He'll make his Camping World Truck Series debut. He's been very good in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. And this year, Chad will have a few nationwide races, and it appears now he'll have 4 or 5 races in the number 51. But if he's going to have a really good day at Texas next week, he's going to have to beat this guy, Johnny Sauter. Johnny Sauter has won our last 2 races at Texas Motor Speedway, and today Sauter persevered and came home with a 7th place run at Dover.
You know, guys, Johnny Sauter told me today that was his Texas winner that he lost at Charlotte last week.
Take a look at the point standings, our Lucas Oil unofficial point standings.
The thing that jumps out there to me, Matt Crafton obviously very solid, has been for years in this series. But what about Jeb Burton and Brendan Gaughan? Those guys hunting this championship themselves. Jeb, a young man. Brendan, it's been 10 years since he's won races in this series. So what a great accomplishment for those teams.
Big loser today, Ty Dillon. Yeah, with that engine failure early on.
Drops back. He's 57 points out. Not gaining any points, but more trophies. Kyle Busch in victory lane.
In business, great communication starts with real listening. And when you're the one responsible for taking your company to the future, you need a partner who really believes this. A partner who knows that listening leads to real understanding and finding solutions that can transform your business. Only the right partner can help bring all the pieces of your plan together with the best communication tools available and a 100% fiber optic network that can deliver the data, internet, voice and video solutions to support all your business applications, keeping you connected to customers, suppliers, and employees. Like you, that partner will see the big picture, and together you will achieve something truly remarkable. That's LightPath.
Fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Darrell Wallace Jr. leads the most laps. Kyle Busch led 50 laps, ends up in victory lane from Dover International Speedway. Jeb Burton, the man second in points now with a 9th place finish. Very impressive. Standing by with Hermie.
Jeb, a good qualifying run. You end up with a top 10, but found some issues with the truck after the race. What went wrong with the Ford truck?
Yeah, at the beginning we were too loose, and then right there at the end we got okay. In the middle of the race we were too tight, but found some stuff messed up on the right front. Some stuff came loose, but you know, that's racing. It was a good day for us. Really, we finished 7th because the 94 and the 51 aren't running points, so it was a good points day for us. Wish we could have been in the top 5, but good day for the Airhead Chevrolet. I need to thank Career Tank Lines, Pacific Equipment, and Rocky Ridge Custom Trucks. Wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here, and we go get them Texas.
All right, that's Jeb Burton. Comes on with a solid top 10 finish.
Thank you, Hermie.
That was some good information there. He had some problems with his truck. Looking at it as a positive, 7th in the guys he's racing for the championship. So good day for Jeb and way to figure everything out.
Next Friday night, under the lights at Texas. 1.5 miles, very fast racetrack.
Speed. You have the need for speed.
tune in Speed next Friday night. We're going to have it. It's going to be fun. Multiple grooves there, a lot of room to race. Brendan Gaughan itching to get back to victory lane. Been close lately. He's going to a place he loves. He'll probably be the favorite down there.
I think right now, the way Matt Crafton's running, he can't wait to go anywhere.
This race starts with the youngest front row ever in the top 3 series of NASCAR, Darrell Wallace Jr. and Chase Elliott. It ends with one of the most experienced and one of the winningest drivers in NASCAR, Kyle Busch in victory lane. Speed Center starts now.